Greetings, brothers and sisters. I started this video yesterday. I'm doing the last 20 minutes of Erika Kirk's speech. She also got an award from Fox, which I'll cover tomorrow because I have to watch even more of her speech, more of her interview. I'm sorry. She has a speech that she gave for winning some bogus Fox bullshit award, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. I'm going to cover Candace Owens. Today's Friday, November 7th. So I started this video, which you'll see. And then I was waiting for Candace Owens to react to Erika Kirk's interview, and she just won't go there. Like, it's whatever. And, it's just a par for the course. But she announced she has the number one podcast now, and then she went light she went in light. YouTube and Google are capitulating to Trump administration's demand to remove anti-Israeli videos and documentaries off the platform. More than 700 videos documenting Israel war crimes have been removed, according to The Intercept. Google confirmed the videos were removed as a result of the State Department's sanctions against certain pro-Palestinian groups. This guy's just an absolute piece of shit, and everybody who voted for him is responsible for being duped by this guy. And he's owned by another country, but he campaigned on America first. And there's lots of dumb motherfuckers that's still out there that are buying into this because that's where we're at. And what I want to talk about here is, I've done this now since, I've had this channel since 2007, and I have focused on the truther stuff since 2014. When my channel became popular and I started doing this like as a full-time job. And I've covered so many issues, and I couldn't list them all. Where I made multiple videos about something. Right now it's about Turning Point, Erika Kirk. And there's a stage where nothing happens. Nothing happens. The information goes out, people react, people do deep dives, there's various opinions, and then everybody kind of moves on from the story and nothing happens. And it happens with everything. Like with people, Alec Baldwin, celebrities like Alec Baldwin, politicians like Trump. It happens like with Israel and wars and economic things. Just nothing ever happens. Nobody's held accountable. The information's out there, and enough people can go and see and, whatever, can have can see what's going on. Have some at least, the veil gets pulled back and the official story crumbles for some people, here. And, various people make videos like me. Maybe even, thousands upon thousands of videos are out there on a subject, even if there's hundreds, and, they get millions of views, and, many people know, at least have a sense of the truth is, not what we're being told, and then nothing happens, right? Just nothing fucking happens. And so, and that's where in that kind of stage with Turning Point, Erika Kirk. Now they've been diminished, whatever they were before when Charlie was alive. They've maybe solidified some base that buys into her bullshit, that, sees her as a grieving widow and buys into her bullshit act. And, this thing with Candace Owens. She's saying, oh, she's got all these things she's going to drop, but never really does. She's really good at just, she drops things, but they have no effect. And, she makes it sound like there's going to be change. And she's selling some kind of, they always are selling you some eventual closure, some eventual, we're going to bring this thing to a close. We're going to get to the bottom of it. We're going to get to the truth. And they never do. No one ever does. At best it's speculation. But you can't prove it. And even if you prove it, it doesn't matter. And so, that's the truth community in a nutshell. I talk all the time about spirituality being, only spirituality will save this world, because it only will. It has to be, people are changing. The problem is people. It's not fucking Trump. It's not Israel. It's not the economic system. It's not any of these things. It's people. people are corrupted and, we're going in the wrong direction. Everybody fucking see it. Like, people are getting worse with each generation and less, less human, less, what it means to be a human being. And certainly less spiritual. The family's collapsing. And, nobody gives a shit, right? Deep down. Certainly not enough to change, right? So, it's not ideal. I mean, that's where we're at. Like, people want to believe things are going in a good direction. Trump screwing America like it's an underage girl. My wife just sent this to me this morning. A couple other memes I want to get to. And then we'll get to the Erika J. Kirk stuff. My dog's barking. What is it called when you remove corruption from the government? Anti-Semitism. So all those things. And so, there's a futility here. There's futile, and I've talked about this for a very long time. It was very clear, I don't know when it was, 2017 or 18. There was a thing with when YouTube did the ad apocalypse, and it wasn't just for truthers, but they realized that there was the powers that be, that they had to control what was on YouTube. There was no real censorship to what people did on YouTube. And that's how they wanted it. YouTube and social media giants, they wanted it where people could just say whatever the fuck they wanted, and they would find an audience. And that's really free speech. And Trump's 100% against free speech. Like, he's been that his whole, I mean, even before he would attack people viciously that criticized him before he ran for president. But, which is his, again, that's part of free speech, but he would do things to close him down, sue him. I mean, he sued everybody. He was a, big lawsuit guy. And he had more money and more lawyers and, a bigger platform. I mean, anybody went after him, he couldn't fucking handle it, whatever it was. But he, as a president, was clear that he wanted to be able to say whatever he could say about everybody, and he would say things other presidents wouldn't say, which is kind of funny. Like, he would be a total little punk about things that other presidents would try to act presidential, and that was kind of, was at least something different. But now he's, you can tell that he's completely captured his own. He's been shackled up, right? Like nobody else that we've ever seen. And, this, whatever's going to happen, it's not going to go in a way where there's some obvious consequences until the system collapses, which is inevitable. There'll be divine consequences, but that's the only fucking thing. Like, there's no other way within the system itself to deal with all the bullshit, to deal with all the degraded nature of humanity. People themselves won't change, won't embrace their higher nature. They won't, work on it. I mean, not even just a little bit, like almost nobody, like just a few people are, a small percentage of the population is working on self-improvement and connecting to the divinity within them, which is, a thing where they're giving up control. Their egos are giving up control. I get into this a little bit with I answer some comments that'll be at the end of this video. And so there's a futility in the truth community. It's good that people understand what's happening, at least on a deeper level, so they understand that this will be good when it happens. No one's going to like it. But the inevitable collapse of the system is because it's just, the bullshit is just across the board on every level. And that's with individual people, too, not just the systems that are in place. So anyways, let's get into the Erika J. Kirk thing, and then I'll do the Candace thing this morning, and then we'll wrap this thing up. Okay, greetings, brothers and sisters. Thursday, November 6th. So, we got more of this Erika Kirk thing to get through. It's about 20 more minutes. I'm just rendering the video now. It's 9:23 in the morning. It's probably going to be done and up by around 10. Kind of an epic video. I want to revisit, I'm not going to show you the clip, but I want to revisit where she said Charlie Kirk died with a smirk. And, that all of these things it meant, like, you're not going to take over this thing. You're not going to, we're going to be bigger and better than ever. And they keep on saying this, and they keep on saying it on Fox News, but it's clearly not the case, right? And so a few things are happening here. I'll try to go read some comments. Fox News has put up these videos, and a lot of the comments are negatives. They're not supportive of her, and these are Fox News Turning Point people. So, they've lost their audience. There's a battle between Candace Owens and TP US Gay about who's going to retain that audience, and it's clear that Candace Owens is slaughtering them in that battle. She's getting 2 million plus views, per video, and they're getting nothing. They're getting sometimes under 5,000 views. And Erika Kirk isn't connecting with people. And so there's something else that's happened here. So there's all the people that knew about Charlie Kirk, like Charlie Kirk, TP US Gay people, all these people who are into the thing. And, they are not into what she's saying. They're not buying the official story. They're not buying the bullshit. The performative stuff. They don't really like her, many of them. And then there's the rest of us who barely knew about Charlie Kirk. Some of us knew, you heard his name. Some of us knew what he looked like. Some of us knew a little bit about him and didn't think that much of it, right? But now it's a national story. And they're trying to turn him into this martyr and make this even bigger than it is. But they've lost their audience. Their audience is, this woman who's supposed to be her loving husband or his loving wife is, backing an official story that they don't believe. And it's made up of people who are very conspiratorial. They're conspiracy theorists, truthers, right-wing dopes, whatever, that believe the right-wing stuff. And they've been stonewalled on Jeffrey Epstein. And now they're getting, denied by her and her group of unappealing, unlikable, low testosterone. I call those two guys, beta males that are sharing a testicle, like these guys who just don't have any pop to them. And so, this thing's dead. Like, this thing is, when it became something that everyone's talking about, she came out and performed in a way that was obvious to everybody who didn't know what this is about. Like, more people know her than they knew Charlie Kirk. More people. I never really heard Charlie Kirk speak. I've heard her speak more than I've heard Charlie Kirk. Like, she's the star of the show and the star that nobody likes. So let's get back to it here.
Don't say that to be reckless. I do not. I do not say that because I'm out in the streets. Like, here I am, come find me. And it's not at all. It's a fearlessness that's rooted in the understanding that I will have my day and my time, whenever that is. When the Lord knows that I've completed my mission.
Nobody's trying to kill you other than, just shut up. Like, they're like, but no one's hunting you like Charlie Kirk. You're not out there. She says things. She doesn't take any real positions on everything. She forgave the guy, even though she's not saying for sure she knows it's him. She's saying that she's trusting the authorities. And, that in itself, just saying I trust the authorities who are, untrustworthy. And, that she's just relying on that. But she's not saying anything controversial. She won't take any positions. I mean, she's not like Charlie Kirk going out and confronting people on their beliefs. She's obviously very pro-Israel because she's not dealing... The one thing she's not dealing with, which her viewers are going to pick up on, Candace Owens revealed a memo that he sent out saying he wanted an audit, and she's not following through on that. That was his wishes. 9 days before he died. And 2 days before he died, she leaked those text messages, and he said he was going to break free from his connection with Israel. He's going to bring Candace Owens back. And so there's these messages that Candace Owens was given, and she's not addressing any of that shit, right? And so she's not abiding by his dying wishes, and she's wanting to get shekels, but the controversy with Gaza Strip, people are going to move on from that. I mean, it's sad, but that's what it is, right? We've seen it over and over again. It's a story an event has its shelf life, and the Gaza thing's over. The war's kind of over. People have turned their attention to other things. We're going to have our own issues, economy, and things like this. So these college kids who are all mad at Israel, they're still going to have this negative opinion. But, these stories coming out about him possibly being killed by Zionists and the rest of this and all that stuff, that she is not addressing that. And this guy doesn't ask her those questions, right? Like, he should ask her those questions. These were things that were reported. These were text messages Charlie sent. What do you think about this? Was he trying to break free from Israel? But, he's not going to ask that because it's Fox News. It's owned by Rupert Murdoch, and he's one of the biggest Zionists out there, right?
And I'm not afraid. Charlie wasn't afraid either. We never lived in fear. If we did, we wouldn't get anything done. And I can't help run alongside this mission of Turning Point USA and raise my babies with fear. I can't. That's not a life to live for anybody.
No, not for me, not for anybody.
What's the hardest part of your day?
The nighttime, always. I'll tell him about my day. I talk to him all the time. But the nights are the hardest.
So
being in a bed by yourself.
So he's going to ask a question. Do you talk to him? Right? She said it a couple times here. Then he's going to end with this question that people talk to the dead. Are you one of them? Right? We're going to get to that. I recover that.
Rolling over, trying to goodnight kiss that's not there. It's, and anyone who's a widow knows what that means. How painful that is.
I mean, just just stop performing, right?
Excuse me. It's so easy to take the little things for granted, but you know what's so interesting? I was thinking about this the other day. It's so easy to be in a position of feeling regret when you lose someone you love.
She's got really cold eyes, like alien, like reptilian eyes, right?
And I tried to read a book by C.S. Lewis because he lost the love of his life. He was only married to her for 4 years. I think it's called A Grief Observed. And it was a very hard book to read. Not because it was about grief, but because in the opening pages he talked about how angry he was with God. And I've never felt that.
I didn't feel that at all. Because I didn't care. I couldn't wait for this motherfucker, That's why I arranged it.
I'm not angry with God.
I'm not angry with God. I'm not.
Never have been.
Never have been. I never get angry.
Never have I questioned, why, Lord, are you putting me through this? Why are you testing me? Why are you...
Why hath you forsaken me? I don't say anything like that.
So good. And he's so sovereign.
He's so sovereign.
And I know he uses everything. Even what the enemy meant for evil.
Again, why an enemy then? If God's putting you through this and it's all for the better, then why is there an enemy? Like, this is in my Hallmark teachings, there's two maxims. Be not revengeful for the wrongs done by others. Take them as heavenly gifts and be grateful. And take miseries as divine blessings. Be truthful. Take miseries, divine blessings for your own good, and something else. I usually can remember. But, these are two important maxims, and they're supposed to be observed and lived by. And, the maxim 7, which is be not revengeful for the wrongs done by others, and take them as heavenly gifts, it's not because that's an attitude you take. It's because, and Babaji explains this. He wrote a whole book on the maxims. And he explains the spiritual science behind this, that, when you start thinking of yourself as great and you start building your ego and, all these things, and somebody does something that sort of humbles you or takes you down a peg, it's literally, it's getting rid of some of this heat, this heat of egoism, and it's cleaning it off. And it's helping you connect to God. So they're actually rendering you a service. So, I've had people who actually suck, like my ex and other people. But I recognize how it helped me spiritually. what they did and, how they were. And so, and all of the stuff we see out there. And so, those people do suck, but they're not the enemy. In fact, they're your friend because they're helping you. And not maybe intentionally, maybe it's part of some kind of soul plan, maybe it's not. But, these, and not just people, things in life that just suck. They're helping you, be a better person and evolve spiritually because you have to go through shit. And so, I would agree with some of the sentiment of what she's saying here. But then she brings up the enemy, like the devil's out there, and the devil killed Charlie. The devil didn't kill Charlie, right? Why couldn't God protect him then? I mean, if God can't protect you from something like this, then what good is God, right? That Charlie should be alive, but the devil took him. Like, what the fuck, right? And so, like, she wants everything both ways because she doesn't know shit. She knows, like, she has ideas of concepts, but she's not like she's like a fucking mannequin, like an AI bot. Like she's like observing humanity and trying to talk through these, these bumper stickers and slogans and shit, right?
And I have no regrets, and I think that that's why processing this for me.
You don't have any regrets since he's died? Like you're doing poorly in the public eye, right? Like you have some supporters and followers and lots of people that think that you're a fake and a fraud and just performative. You have any regrets at all?
It's probably different than most because people say, how can you do all what you do?
I mean, if you're not mad at God, then why are you still fucking fake crying? And I mean, she doesn't do this when she's not in front of a camera. So that's the first part. But then why are you crying like this? Why aren't you celebrating that Charlie's in heaven? You've moved on to whatever extent. It's been like it's been 2 months almost. A couple of days, it'll be 2 months. And so, like, why are you still fucking doing this bullshit, crying and, processing this thing in front of everybody? Like, you don't have to do it. Like, the only reason to do it is you're trying to build the legend of Charlie as a martyr. And nobody's buying that shit. Like, they want the truth of how he was and why he was killed. Because they believe that it was, a cover-up. And there's a deeper story, and many of those people, I believe, in Israel was involved. And, people who are US gay, people. And then, liberals and truthers that are all thinking the same thing, right?
And it's because I loved and still love Charlie.
Did you watch the news after the assassination? Because there were some people saying that Charlie deserved to die. Mm-hmm. Charlie had it coming.
There's so much beauty in life. I don't know why you would waste your time saying somebody deserves to be publicly executed.
Yeah, right-wing people have said that about plenty of people. And so it's not like you guys are free, you're clean on that shit, right?
In front of everyone. That's just, why would you say that?
Why would you say that?
Again, that could have been your parent, your spouse, your loved one. You think it's funny until it's someone you love? I would just ask them to really reassess their priorities in life if they get a high off of watching someone be murdered.
Yeah, I don't think there's very few people are getting a high off of that, right? That woman who put a gun to her neck, that the teacher was, I think, been fired. A morbidly obese teacher who was doing the No Kings protests. But the right wing does this shit all the time. And, you guys hate each other. I mean, if you're into the right or into the left, you hate the other side. You have to, because it's so polarized right now. So, people die all the time and people are insensitive and fucking don't give a shit about other people. Even their own families, their own people. So, never mind somebody like this. And Charlie said shit. And the biggest problem he had was he was shackled up. And he did bad things, like he endorsed a genocide.
Jimmy Kimmel lied about your husband's murder and didn't really apologize.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to Jimmy Kimmel?
Remember, Jimmy Kimmel said barely anything. He said many worse things. Things that he should be canceled for, blackface, things that he did in the past, misogynistic things to women, and just horrible things. Having an ex-porn star come on his show and showing her a tray full of orange mushrooms and having her pick one, because she was, that looked like Trump's penis, like, fucking, like he's, done like really bad things. Getting on his knees and servicing Hunter Biden when Hunter Biden wrote a book about smoking crack, right?
Same thing I told Sinclair. They asked, I haven't really told anybody this, so they asked, do you want Jimmy to give you an apology? Do you want to be on his show? How can we make it right? Through our team, I responded. I said, tell them thank you. We received their note. This is not our issue, not our mess. We are grieving.
We got our own mess that we're creating right now.
We have an organization to run. My husband never told people what to say. You do what you think is best and right, and I prayerfully wish you the best. But I will never ask someone to give me an apology that they don't genuinely mean. That's between you and the Lord.
It's between Jimmy Kimmel's and the Lord.
If you want to say I'm sorry to someone who's grieving, go right ahead.
And I'll be grieving for the rest of my life. Like I'll be out here, gray hair and fucking whiskers, coming out here and talking about how like I'm gonna ride this thing. I'm gonna ride the grief train with my my skin tight leather grieving pants for as long as I can.
But if that's not in your heart, don't do it.
Don't do it.
I don't want it.
Don't do it.
I don't need it.
I don't need it.
Where are we going now?
He acquired and purchased all these buildings. This is the final building.
Yeah, he didn't acquire them. He was gifted them by. He was sheckled. These were sheckled buildings, right? There's a building that some guy just built from one of these Zionist billionaires, right? The Patriot Awards is coming, and she's getting the first one.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Everyone's sending all of this here?
They received tens of thousands of letters, cards, gifts, personal Bibles, paintings, and more.
A lot of this is from when people came to the campus, the Turning Point USA offices, and left it outside the gates. Also, a lot has been mailed. I mean,
A lot of mails. There's a lot of mailed stuff here.
it's just unbelievably humbling.
So humbling.
This is all mail. I told them not to throw anything away. I want every single card saved for my kids.
I want my kids to read every one of them. When they grow up, I want them to read this thing, and how that these actors, I call my kids. I want them to.
And for when, if a day gets hard at your desk, you come into this mailroom, and I want you to come in, and I want you to pick up any of these cards, and I want you to read it, so you can put into perspective why you work here.
Well done, Charlie.
This is my children's favorite section. This is the section that I tell them that in heaven, Daddy he's orchestrating with his friends to send them little presents so that they never forget that Daddy's watching over them.
But I don't let him touch these things because, he had his own stuffed animals. Like, what the fuck's he wearing, right? I mean, again, I'm not a clothes person, but he's got, just whatever. And then, she wears her grieving outfits, but she wears dresses like this normally, like things that are, like, weird, odd, I don't know where she gets this stuff, but she has all these, people are sending her all these stuffed animals. This is a thing here.
Whenever I bring the kids here at the office, I always let them grab one thing to play with. But I mean, it's really sweet. So you remember I told you that Daddy was working with his friends from heaven to send you presents every day, so you always know you're loved?
He's working from heaven. Daddy's in heaven. He's working. He's sending you presents. You and your fucking blueberry habit. Remember, like that weird thing she said about her daughter? Daddy's got to go work with Jesus, make some fucking martyr money because you and your fucking blueberry habit.
See?
This is Sesame Street.
It
I love
is.
Sesame Street.
I know, it's Sesame Street, but all these are for you, baby.
Why would you be watching that liberal crap like Sesame Street? You know, so this is an actress. You think she'd be letting her kid watch Sesame Street? That liberal bullshit, right? Like who, you know, these people are against that kind of stuff, that anti-Christian fucking liberal fucking bullshit PBS things, right? Those Christians don't let their kids watch that shit. It's Sesame Street. Let's go back here. Let me see here. 38.
So you always know you're loved? See?
This is Sesame Street.
It
I love
is.
Sesame Street.
I know, it's Sesame Street, but all these are for you, baby. These are from Daddy's friends.
Mommy, read this to me.
I'll read it to you.
You told your children that Charlie was going on a work trip with Jesus. Are they still asking, where's Daddy?
Yes, my daughter continues to ask. I told her the other day, because she said, I just miss Daddy, and where's Daddy? When is he coming home? And I said, baby, Daddy's still with Jesus. And I said, they are so busy. And I said, if ever you want to talk to Daddy, you just look up to the sky and start talking to him.
You just look up there and talk to him. You just look up to the sky and talk to him.
Hear you.
Oh my God.
It's always me.
She's just smiling 2 seconds ago.
And I told her, I said,
It's like a fucking, she's like a human Hallmark card, right? Human fucking Hallmark card.
you know, Daddy is in heaven. She goes, so does that mean he's in a different house? And I said, yes, baby, he is building a house for us. Some people would say a mansion.
You know, in a place where there's no physical reality, right? There's no materials. There's no trees, there's no wood, there's no body, there's no any of these things.
He goes, you think I could go sometime?
She can't take it. Oh my God, I can't take it. I fucking can't take it.
Excuse me.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm just grieving right now. Grieving right now. I'm grieving. Everybody look, I'm grieving right now.
Children are so precious.
They're so precious.
I said, baby, we will all go one day. We will all go one day. It makes me speechless because it's for the kids. And that's how I can keep telling the kids, you know, Daddy's thinking about you and loves you, and all these people.
I wonder when she's going to remarry. Like, there's got to be a time, there's got to be some kind of time period.
Some stuff. I mean, it's endless, which is amazing. Yes, baby.
The alleged assassin, Tyler Robinson, is eligible for the death penalty if he is found guilty when this trial comes, and what a trial this will be.
It's still not over. There's a trial coming up. The defense wants to ban cameras in the courtroom. How do you feel about that?
There were cameras all over my husband when he was murdered.
Yeah, the ones you guys put there. Like, I want to revisit this. I already talked about this in another video. You guys put the cameras there. And this is where she gets hard, right? She's got this cold death stare. I mean, there's just a hardness in her, right? Like, she's faking the weeping stuff, but she's like fucking hard as fuck when she's talking about stuff like this. But you guys film everything. Like, you had all these performative videos, and even though you didn't show your kids' faces, you're always doing videos with your kids. You know, all that stuff. Like, they're big into that shit. They're big into cameras. She's big into school. They're big into social media. They filmed everything he did from multiple angles. And so you guys are the ones who filmed that. Like, you guys had the footage. And the other people there were filming it because they were like fans. You're making it sound like this. He had cameras all over him. Like, what the fuck, right? You know, these were all people who were at the event that are filming this thing. And this, here we go.
Cameras in the courtroom. How do you feel about that?
There were cameras all over my husband when he was murdered. There have been cameras all over my friends and family mourning. There have been cameras all over me, analyzing my every move, analyzing my every smile, my every tear.
Okay. Those are all your cameras? Because the only time that we've seen her is stuff that she's posted. Other than that, she doesn't exist, right? There's no paparazzi that we see or anything like that, right? People standing outside her door. We don't see any of that shit. All we see is the fucking weird hug with J.D. Vance and all this other performative bullshit she's done and all the other stuff. I mean, she's making it sound like she's not fucking filming all this stuff.
We deserve to have cameras in there. Why not be transparent? There's nothing to hide.
Okay, so the guy doesn't have a law team. He has the one woman tried to get him a lawyer, and it's just, I mean, if this is believable, there's some woman tried to get him a lawyer, and she went to all these law firms and finally found, like, she had all these people who were going to represent him pro bono, because it's good publicity for them, these lawyers, right? And she got a guy who was a death penalty lawyer, a murder lawyer from New York that was going to represent him, and she can't get in touch with him or the family. And then when she talked to the prosecution, they said they were going to pick the lawyer. Like, this is a complete setup and stage job. Like, they know, they all fucking know this stuff. They know it more than we know it. And so, the cameras would humanize this guy to whatever extent. But doing it behind closed doors, telling that it's guilty, nothing to see here, and giving them the death penalty and move it on and closing this thing down, closing any, investigation of the thing is what they're going to want to do anyway. So, I mean, it's so fake, this stuff, right?
I know there's not, because I've seen what the case is built on. Let everyone see what true evil is.
Oh, my God. The kid is true evil? Who's the true evil? I thought you forgave him. Like, how could you forgive somebody who's true evil? Right? And I thought this, you're not mad at God, right? I thought this was a good thing. I thought this came from God. Like, it's just, you're all over the fucking place. Like, she contradicts herself constantly. She said she turned off her phone and she doesn't know about any of these things because she's not looking into it. She's not watching any of these things. And yet she wants to watch the trial, and she read through all the court filings. Like, what the fuck, right? It just, you can't have it both ways, right? She's always contradicting herself in these, within seconds of something she says.
Let everyone see and know how it happened, how it even got to this point. This is something that could impact a generation and generations to come of understanding there is never a justifiable moment for violence, especially political violence. And that's another reason why, too, I've been so open about certain private moments within our family.
Okay, so the hell is going on here? So here's the thing. So Candace Owens said that the documents show that it isn't a 30-06 that the bullet that came from the guy's grandfather's gun, which people are saying could go through two mooses. Remember, Turning Point USK, Andrew Colvett, came out and said he talked to a surgeon, said that Charlie was superhuman and he was saving people's lives because he blocked the bullet that would go through two mooses or three mooses, a couple of elk. A bullet that was so powerful it would blow up his whole face, right? Like would have the impact of the thing. But Candace Owens said there was a bullet lodged in his neck, and it's not, it's a lower caliber. And so, again, I mean, none of this is easy to believe at this point because anything that's coming out is suspect because, like, we don't even know if the guy was ever existed, if these are just actors, if this was some kind of plot. Like, at this point, it's also fake and also contrived. But, she would know that, right? Because she's read through these court filings.
There's nothing to hide. Let the world see. Let them see.
On the cross, our Savior said, "Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do."
They know not what they do. A lot of people have pointed this out. So she got that wrong, right? She fucked that up. Gave it deliver the line. It's a big line it's a biblical line.
That man, that young man,
That young man.
I forgive him.
I mean, it's amazing these people are applauding. It's so fake. Woo! She did it. Oh my God, these guys are crying. Like, holy shit, this like dumb fuckistan stuff here.
You shocked a lot of people when you forgave Tyler Robinson.
Yeah, I didn't shock them. It's like so performative.
How did you do that?
I remember going.
Well, first of all, he had nothing to do with it, and I wasn't married to Charlie, and I didn't really love him, and he was gay, and like.
Over the speech the night before, and there was a portion in there that I remember putting about how Charlie was trying to save the Lost Boys of the West. He was trying to save the exact type of individual who murdered him.
He was a lost boy.
And when I reread that the night before, I thought it just was weighing on my heart. Forgive him.
Forgive him.
A lot of people in this world think that forgiveness is a weakness, or that when you forgive, you forget. And it's the exact opposite. It's a form of freedom. The enemy stole my husband.
Okay, who is the enemy? Is it God? Because you just said that you're not mad at God. What the fuck are you talking about? She said she wasn't mad at God. I don't know if it was in this one or my last, what I covered before in the last video. But what is it? Are you mad at him? Are you fucking, is it the devil? Is the devil more powerful than God? What the fuck are you talking about, right? Like, this enemy. Like, I mean, just, Christians will understand. This is like inside evangelical speak, right? Although Charlie wasn't evangelical. But, they're political and they're fucking taking money from a foreign government. And, is the enemy, I mean, who is the enemy? Like this kid and his furry buddy? Like this. Who's the enemy, Monica? Right? Just uploaded the video. The other one, the other half of this. Let's get back to it here.
And if I didn't forgive, it's more so for me than this man.
Okay, so you can't convict him. Like, if you believe in freedom in the American way, he hasn't been tried yet. You see the evidence. The evidence is, there's no evidence, right? Like, the evidence is a bullet that didn't kill him, like his gun, from a gun that doesn't shoot the caliber bullet that, I mean, if Candace Owens can be believed here, and, that's a much more believable story than that he blocked a bullet that could pass through a couple of fucking mooses, right? Like, he had incredible bone density, and that all turned out to be bullshit. Like, that's already been exposed. Some fucking confessions on these platforms, one of which said that there's, Discord, that said that these things weren't there, that they didn't have any of these records of these things, that they were made up, and they were attacked by Trump and people for saying that there was bullshit. And then just all the rest of it, the Patsy story just doesn't hold up. It never does. Like, it just never is. And it's better if they kill the guy and it doesn't go to trial. And so, but he is going to trial, and it's not, Trump is already saying he wants the death penalty for this kid, and she's already forgiven him, and that skews the jury. They say they don't want you going out and looking for things because you don't want to tamper with the court process. You leave it to the professionals. That's what the TPS US gay thing is. That's their whole talking points and hers. But by saying the guy's guilty, you're swaying all the potential jury members, many of whom are right-wing people in a Republican state, and all the other information about the guy, right, that seems very suspect.
Because the enemy would have my heart. And I knew that every day the Lord forgives me for things. Just how he forgives everybody else for things, small, big. And what an example of...
The Lord doesn't forgive shit. God doesn't forgive shit because there's nothing to forgive, as you've gotten freedom of choice. you get consequences for your mistakes, right? They're there, so there's no need. God's like, oh, I forgive you. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, this is like a human thing. Like, God's beyond all that kind of stuff. Like, God doesn't hold something, like you have the ability to choose to do the wrong thing, which is given to you by God. So God was going to forgive himself for giving us freedom to choose wrong, right? That doesn't exist.
Forgiveness, and it's not easy. It's not easy. It never is easy, but it's freeing.
Yeah,
It's
you look so liberated.
so freeing. And again, it's not a weakness.
It's not a weakness. Don't call me fucking weak. Look at me. I'm fucking weak. Look at my fucking eyes. I'm not fucking weak at all, motherfucker. Look at my fucking steel cold fucking dead eyes. I'm not fucking weak.
But it's a way for me to be able to say, you'll never get me.
Who's you?
You'll never get me.
You'll never get me. Fuck you. You'll never get me. You can kill my husband. You can do anything. I'll just forgive everybody. I don't give a fuck. Fuck you. I'll forgive everybody. You can't get me.
Would Charlie have forgiven his killer?
Yeah, he would.
He's in heaven.
He's in heaven.
And he sees everything.
He sees everything. Like, this is fucking imaginary bullshit, right? Can you corroborate? Can you show evidence that he's in heaven and that he sees everything?
Sure. And I truly believe that if the Lord, which this does not happen, but if the Lord gave him an option to return back to earth, and if the Lord said, this is what your death is going to be the catalyst for, do you want to go back and exchange it?
He goes, I can't spend another day with this bitch. God, please, I can't spend another day with this fucking bitch.
He'd say no.
He'd say no. He would say fucking no. Of course he'd say no. You're in heaven. Like, if heaven was as great as they say it is, and as soon as you die, you don't want to come back, right? Because it's fucking heavy as shit down here. It's third dimensional reality, and it's filled with pain and pleasure and all kinds of things that you get addicted to, drama, all the stuff here, which doesn't exist when you don't have a body. So if you go to heaven, like you're saying, like there are people who go to heaven and they want to come back. They like it better here. That he likes it better here. It's fucking stupid, right? Like, of course he would stay in heaven. You want to go back to hell, or you want to stay here in heaven? No, I want to go back to hell down there.
Oh, he'd say no.
He'd say no.
If convicted, do you think your husband's killer should get the death penalty?
Okay, if convicted, but he is your killer. This guy is the killer, right? We all know he's a killer. Like, that's the language we're using.
I do not want this man's blood on my ledger when I stand before the Lord. I
I don't want it on my ledger.
the government to decide.
You want the government to decide, but you're full. Like when Israel decided to kill 200,000 children and 600,000 people in Gaza and starve them out. I don't want anything to do with it. I'll take their shekels. I'll build a house with their shekels, but I'm not fucking. I don't want that on my ledger.
It's biblical too. Justice will ultimately be served.
When we return,
This is your first major event.
Okay, so we'll watch the end of this thing here. I'll go past this commercial. So this is one of the commercials. This guy's still
At your leisure. Why refi? Investing in America's future.
that guy. This is now on Turning Point. Erika Kirk, in her own words. When you meet real spiritual people, and they might annoy you from the sense that they're like, goody two shoes or, whatever thing. You could have an issue with people who are really spiritual, for whatever reason. But they're really spiritual. They're not like annoying like she is and fake and performative. Like, they're not just pretending to be spiritual. They are spiritual. You can feel God and connected to them. Now, maybe you have a problem with God, so you have a problem with those people. And that's what they're trying to say about her and Charlie, that they're so godly that people have a problem with them. They're not godly at all. There's nothing, they can talk about scripture. They can say the words, but they don't admit, don't emanate this energy. They're not. She's like just so fucking fake, right? And it's annoying. It's like it's worse, right? It's like blasphemous because you're pretending to be godly, but you're not at all, right? You're a fraud. You're a poser.
So tonight, I really am very excited to see Erika Kirk and hear her speak. She's a strong woman that shows that she can do anything, especially taking over Turning Point as the new CEO. I think she's doing a great job.
Where's the southern accents? That girl had a little bit of a southern accent. The first girl didn't. This is Mississippi.
Fox was invited behind the scenes as Erika Kirk visited the University of Mississippi. The event is part
He's
of
a
the
legend.
This is the Turning Point tour.
Trump is a total fucking piece of shit shill for Israel, which we all know now, who was best buddies with Jeffrey Epstein. And they're still pushing this shit out there. They still buy that shit, right? And Turning Point's still pushing that stuff, even though, if you're being honest and you're being godly, you would say, yeah, I think we made a mistake with this guy because he's like kind of the devil, right? I think we've elected the devil, or at least a demon.
This is your first major event.
It is.
As CEO of Turning Point USA, you're about to go on stage.
It's pronounced U.S. gay.
What do you think Charlie would think about all this?
He'd be blown away. His vision for these events was stadiums. He always wanted them to be massive, and he loved them being outside, of course, but for night events, he always had this vision of packing out stadiums.
Packing up stadiums. We just did it.
He sent a picture to Tyler on our team of one of the largest university football stadiums and said, this is the goal.
It is rainy, it is cold, but students here at Ole Miss have been waiting to get into this event for hours now.
Well, you have about 10,000 people out there.
I'm humbled.
Can you go and twerk for us in your skin tight leather morning pants? Can you, before you grope JD Vance, can you do a little twirl and just show off your? What made you pick the leather pants?
Why Ole Miss?
Well, that was a stop that Charlie had on the list, and him and JD were going back and forth on, which stop they would do, and it just so happened to be this one, and we just wanted to keep everything in motion that Charlie wanted honored.
You mean like when he said he wanted an audit, which you're not doing, or when he said that he wanted to break from Israel, his Israel support because they were threatening him and bullying him, and he couldn't believe the way they were treating him because he offered a hint of criticism, like that stuff, like that. It seems like if you're monitoring that stuff, Monica. It's not Monica Lewinsky. It's just, for whatever reason, I think her name's Monica.
Standpoint of, he already had this set up. And so with everything that JD and Usha did for myself and Charlie afterwards, how could you not?
How could you not do it? How could you?
Introducing the vice president tonight, JD Vance. He's really been there for you.
He's a blessing.
He's such a blessing. Him and Usha, when we all sleep together, it's amazing.
Him and Usha, they are the most incredible people.
They are. They're so incredible.
Incredible. With such genuine love. I mean, just everything they did for us was so humanized. I mean, they
were like humans. They almost acted like humans.
For us. They've been there for us.
Your husband's life was taken on a college campus. You're here now on campus. Do you feel safe?
Yes, because I feel Charlie with me here.
You feel
Charlie was so good at protecting himself from those bullets.
Charlie here right now.
I know you do too.
I feel him too.
I feel him. I feel him right there. It's tingling on my inner thigh.
God bless you. And God bless Turning Point USA.
The next speaker is a very, very special speaker, and she has had a heroic last year and I believe she's the best mom in the world. Truly the best mom in the world. She is my
The best mom in the world. So she is. I mean, I'm a little biased, but I think she's the best mom, the best fake mom. We got the best acting kids.
hero and the love of my life. Join me in welcoming Erika Kirk.
Boom.
The movement didn't die with Charlie.
He did die. It's still going. It's still going here.
The campus is here right now. This place is at capacity. You can feel the energy.
The energy's just right there.
Charlie's murder might seem like we're standing in a shadow, as if death was the victory meant for the enemy, but looking around in this...
I want you to really define the enemy. When you say the enemy, like, why do you ask her, when you talk about the enemy, what do you mean? Expand on the enemy.
Arena, you are proof that this light of truth burns so brightly.
Woo! 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 We're the light of USA.
Carrying on Charlie's
USK.
legacy, Vice President
Boom, remember?
Vance debated students with different viewpoints, repeatedly encouraging them to come to the front of the line.
Because we want to talk to people we agree with. We also want to hear from people we disagree with.
I did not agree with many of the things that you said right ahead of this.
I see there's a big line, and I hope I can get to everybody's question.
Why would they show up to debate him if they disagree with them? Like, why would you do that? Like, they have to be shills in some way. Why would you show up to, I mean, some people are doing it for, like, there was that old guy who challenged Charlie Kirk to a fight. That seemed performative. But, like, let's say somebody one's crazy, want to do that. But for the most part, why would you bother showing up? Like, what would be the motivation? It would be in a sea of people you hate, don't respect, and sit through all this bullshit. Like, people say, hey, I want to debate you. And I'm like, well, why would I want to debate you? Like, I don't want to listen to you. Like, if you had a YouTube channel, I don't want to listen to your opinion. Like, if you're debating, you have to listen to other people express. I mean, I know what you already think. I know these various other talking points. And I don't care about what I say, or I don't even care about my own stuff. Like, I don't like listening to myself. Like, why would I want to listen to you? And, usually crazy or angry or fucking some butthurt fucking bullshit thing that you're not dealing with. And so, I don't want to have a conversation with you. Like, 'cause I don't want to listen to you. If we were at a social event and you were talking to me, I'm like, all right, I got to go over here now. And so I don't understand why there would be people showing up and for this thing, especially now after he's dead. Like, it'd be one thing at a small venue in a college campus and you just walk over from your dorm, you see this thing going on, and you come up like that girl that flashed Charlie her nipple. Like, this is how bad TPUS gay is. The first video they posted after Charlie died of Charlie, and they have all this footage that no one's ever seen, they're sitting on, was this the video that more people watched than any other Charlie Kirk video, was a girl flashed her nipple at him. Right? And they chose that one. Like, it's fucking weird.
Girlfriend who's studying in America off a visa. So what is your view on legal immigration?
Yes, sir. Well, I appreciate the question. And look, my honest view is that right now, America, thanks in part to the Biden border invasion, but also thanks in part to a lot of bad immigration policy, right now, we have let in too many immigrants into the United States of America. That is just a fundamental reality.
That's just reality. So we just got to start fucking showing up at their house masked with bullies and grabbing them out of the fucking beds and throwing them out of the country, even if they have jobs that no American wants to do. Right?
The next day, Erika was back in Phoenix.
Last night was amazing. Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think I can ever put into words. I mean, obviously, that was my first campus. I mean, in fact, on a campus event, it was sitting next to Shirley. I mean, I always got it. I always supported him for everything, but now to see it.
She's not crying at all. She's not sad. She's not emoting. She's, why wouldn't that make her sad? Like, talking about Charlie, talking about her first campus event. Because she's not performing. Whenever you see her, and they don't show her very much, when you see her when she's not in front of one of these fucking, doing the interview or a staged event, she doesn't cry. She's not crying. She's not weeping. It's just only when the cameras are on. Because after a while, there's a shelf life to grieving. And it could go on for years, but like there's stages to it, like the 5 stages of grief. She said she's already had gratitude, except for the enemy. She's already forgiven. She's already accepted. And so why are you still fucking crying all the time? Well, because, you got the role as a grieving widow, and she's going to be doing this for as long as it, like, at some point, people are like, will you stop fucking crying already, right? There's a Sajmar, the meditation that I do. And there's a American woman who lost her daughter. Her daughter was like 26. And we were friends on Facebook. I'd interacted with her and her husband. Her husband seemed really kind of like a saintly person. And she posted things with her daughter. Sometimes she'd make her daughter her profile picture almost every day, back when I was observing Facebook. And people were like, oh my God, she was so great. And they would write things. Her friends would write things, how great this girl was. And then after a while, nobody was responding at all. Like, it was just this thing when she was just posting, like, it was like years she was posting. Like, she just wouldn't get over this thing, right? I mean, it was real. It wasn't like this bullshit with Erika Monica Kirk. But, at some point it got weird, right? Like, you got to stop fucking posting already. It's just weird. Like, it just, everyone else has kind of moved on. And then, when the whole Heartfulness debacle happened and my ex, this one was like friends with my ex and all these things. I just unfriended all these people. Anybody who was pro-Dodgy and Heartfulness, and then anybody who was like close to my ex, I just, it was just, I didn't want to be associated with them. But there were times where I would go back like years later and just see if these people were still posting, if they're pro-Dodgy. And I saw her page, like these things would come up, things would be recommended, like something like that. Or I would be, once in a while, I went through all these old Heartfulness people that I used to be friends with, or just people who were prominent. And I've seen if they were still pimping out Dodgy stuff, or if they kind of realized and were backing away from it. And this woman was still posting shit about her daughter. It'd been like fucking 8 years. Like, if I looked right now, she would still be doing it. And it's fucking weird, right? Like, not that she should love her daughter, and it's hard to get over those things. But, it's like it doesn't get any better, and social media isn't the proper place. It is in the beginning, maybe, family and friends, and you're looking for condolences and whatever, but, it's just you're stuck, right? And as a spiritual person, like she's supposed to be spiritual, you have to move forward.
Oh, there was a point where I couldn't even catch my breath through, like, before we went on stage, and they played that video. I know. That intro video.
I had to
to hear my husband say,
she is my hero and the love of my life. Erika Kirk.
She's the love of my life. Yeah.
Like, why isn't she crying? She should be crying now. Like, this would be, like, she's not at all. There's no emotion here at all. She's kind of, she's smiling. She's happy. And these people, like, why are they filming this, right? Like, why are they filming this? Again, you're talking about the cameras being on you. And then this is, part of it. Like, this is you doing these, every minute of your life you want to be seen. She's really big. She's a social media person. And that's what social media people do.
So, when we first started dating, I asked him, I was like, why don't you wear a cross? He's like, why? You say you're a Christian, but you don't wear a cross. He's like, I don't know.
You say you're a Christian. Hey, you fuck. You say you're a Christian, but I don't see the cross on you, bro. Like this, the cross is a horrible thing. And I've said that, Christianity has a crucifixion problem that they've, they made into their thing, right? But it shouldn't be. You shouldn't be celebrating what happened to Jesus. Like, it's this whole thing that she's doing with her husband's a part of that, the whole martyrdom thing. But again, she's not, this is another moment where she could be crying.
Really, I'm not a jewelry guy. And I was like, I understand. So for his first birthday present, I got him this cross. And then throughout time, I would always add different medals to it. And so he loved St. Michael. And so, yeah, every time he'd put this on, he just felt like it was his armor.
Yeah.
Except it really wasn't, because fucking, he got shot in the neck. Like fucking, she's not at all crying. Where's her fucking handkerchief? Like, she doesn't carry a handkerchief with her, fucking whatever that shit is, snot rags, to dab her eyes when she's just doing this. Every time we've seen her outside of her event, she doesn't grieve. The only grieving she's doing is public, which is fake, right?
Yeah. It's really sweet.
Freedom.
Turning Point headquarters has grown from 1 building to 6, and the construction is not slowing down. On this day, like many, students are out in full force volunteering to help in any way they can.
Boom. Volunteering. That's where they sell the crack.
This is only a portion of the team.
Mm-hmm.
There's, what, 50 people in here?
Hi, guys.
Hey. Why is she crying now? Look, she doesn't have a handkerchief now. She's, these are moments where she's like, well, I'm not giving a speech. I'm not doing an interview. I'm just like hanging out. So this is where I don't cry. Like, this is my non-grieving time. Like all the other time that I'm not in front of a camera.
So this is a portion. Every building you'll see, the staff is family. They're amazing.
They're so amazing.
But what's so special, and people would say to Charlie, everyone's so young. He would say, I don't care if they went to college. Tell me what you're passionate about.
I don't give a shit if they can read
Tell
or
me what
write.
you care about.
I don't care if they're even Christian. I don't care if they're like illegals.
This country. And so that didn't mean anything to him. He wanted people who were bought into the mission.
Yeah, because he wasn't college educated either.
No one's left. No one's been fired. No, there's been no rivalry. There's been no coup. There's been no internal takeover. Everyone's
Why would there be that? The guy's only been dead for 2 months. That's the kind of organization that there'd be a coup, right? There hasn't been a coup. I'm telling you, there's no coup. Whatever you heard, there's no coup. There's no fucking coup going on here. There's no sheckling. We're still getting the shekels.
family. And it's a testament to what Charlie built and how he hired.
She's doing the performance here, but she's not crying, right?
Just about anyone you ask here says they feel Charlie's presence around them all the time.
When people lose someone they love, oftentimes they say, I can still talk to them.
Yeah.
Do you still talk to Charlie?
I'll get home, it's late at night, I'll be getting ready for bed in the bathroom. I'll keep looking in the shower, trying to see. He would always write on the shower when he was in there.
I talked about this in the last video, but it's a weird thing that she gets home late at night. She's working on, like, who's taking care of her kids? She's not there. She said she was around for dinner and she wanted to be home, and he said, you need to be home with the kids. But now she's taking over CEO, and now they're being raised by fucking strangers or illegals or whatever. Like, what's happening? Like, where's the, like, where you coming in to fucking late at night? Like, none of these things, the story doesn't hold together because it's fake as fuck, right? Like, everything's, like, made up, so you don't...
Write numbers and things, and at the end, he would do his signature at the end. Obviously, it's been so long since he's taken a shower at home, but I still look for it.
Now he's taking showers in heaven. He didn't take many showers. It's kind of gross, but when he did, he would write things on the wall. But now I hope he's practicing good hygiene in heaven. Jesus, make sure Charlie takes his showers, will you?
I talk to him all the time. I'll say, baby, just give me your wisdom.
Your wisdom, baby. Baby, give me your wisdom, baby.
Speak to me. People would say, if you can't sleep, take something to sleep.
I don't fucking know.
The Lord has let me sleep just fine.
Yeah, I sleep great. This is just bullshit grieving. I don't give a fuck. I'm happy as fuck.
But I don't want to take anything. That's not how we operate.
Who's we?
If I take anything, it'll numb me from being able to hear from the Lord. And for Charlie, I want to be able to talk to him. I want to feel this so deeply, so that I know how the Lord wants to use it. And if I'm
just using it, he's not doing a good job now though, because everyone thinks I'm weird, and I don't know wear those fucking pants, and I'll fucking put my hand on the back of JD Vance's neck, and the fake tears, the crying, all the fucking bullshit, and the acting. I don't think I'm being used quite properly, Lord.
numb to that, he can't use me. But I talk to him all the time. Charlie, what do you think of this? Can you believe this happened today? Gigi said hi. And I realize that's healing. You don't ever want to stop talking about the people that you love, even though they're in heaven.
What is this heaven you speak of?
Especially to your babies, because that means that they're still there.
Your babies.
I always want my husband's voice and his name to be on people's lips. He's a good man.
He was a good man.
Well, the next time you talk to Charlie, please tell him we love him. And Erika, we love you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And thank you so much.
God bless you.
God bless you too.
God bless you. Fucking bless you so much. God fucking bless you. Boom. All right, so there's that. Holy shit, I'm glad I got through that fucking thing. Well, put that behind me. So this is Erika J. Franzvai in the Hamptons in New York State. The Hamptons is where, really one of those places where really wealthy people hang out, especially in New York. Like there's these places around New York and LA and these big cities, There's suburbs, but then there's these places excluded for rich people. And the Hamptons is where, a lot of these liberal, wealthy, rich people hang out. They're like, just some people that I cover here. Like Don Lemons, he has a Hampton house. And the Baldwins had a Hampton house, so they had to sell it when Alex was being charged with manslaughter, remember? And then all these other people. And I went to a Hamptons house once. My friends knew somebody, like second, third degree separation, whose family was really wealthy, because I was in Connecticut, right? And went there, just beautiful beach houses, ultra wealthy, multi-million-dollar homes on the beach in these towns. And, she was up there a lot. And this is where she met Charlie Kirk. So she was there because she was a model and an actress, and she wanted to be famous. And there's this show called Summer House. And it's a really degraded, vulgar, I'll show you some clips of that, lowbrow dating show. Like one of those really bad ones. Like, as bad as The Bachelor and Bachelorette are, it's like 4 times lower vibration, lower budget. And it's these, pretentious, fake, wealthy people who want to be on TV. And she's one of them. She wants to be on TV. So there's a gay dude, and you're going to see this guy immediately say, oh, I think this guy's gay. And then there's a scene where his friends are like, yeah, he's gay. And he is being set up with Erika Franzvai, who's totally willing to date a gay dude to get on TV. Which speaks to, Candace Owens said that this guy, Tyler Boyer, she is like an open secret that he's gay. He's the guy second in charge to Charlie Kirk. He's Charlie Kirk's handler. He's the guy who introduced Erika Kirk to Charlie Kirk. And he hired all these guys, and he was banging these interns, according to Candace Owens. Like some guy came forward and told her, and people just know about it. And so there's this. That's why I call it TPUS gay. And so let's watch it here.
Grab a drink somewhere quieter in here? Or? Yeah, perfect. Cool. Jordan, if you don't...
Take this to the next level, God help you. That's what this guy says. Because he's mocking him because he's pretending to be religious. They copyrighted me, so I got to go back and edit out all the longer pieces here, which sucks, but I want to use the main pieces. See, there's her signature smile. She's smiling throughout this thing. This is one of her big breaks being on TV. She was in, that music video where she was in Vegas, and it's got all the symbolism, and it had 9/10 and on these, the board as she goes ziplining through Vegas, and she's flirting with another guy named Tyler, who's her co-star in the music video. She's very flirtatious. There's a behind the scenes. I've showed that, and I've covered it, and other people have covered that in one of these videos. And so when I first saw this, I didn't know that much about it. But you could see that she wants to be on TV. She's got an IMDb page. She's an actress, and she's a model, and she wanted to be famous, and she wanted to do this stuff. She's talks about God quite a bit, but she's really into this other stuff, being famous. And, she achieved her goal. Like, she's in front of people. She likes to be in front of people. That's why she likes to give speeches. She couldn't wait to, she was never a headliner. She never came out there and was giving speeches with Charlie Kirk. And she was just, it's a much bigger deal being his widow than his wife. Right? And now she's got that, martyr money, and she's got, she's the CEO of a company. She went from being the wife of a CEO to a CEO. She's got that fake fucking laugh everywhere, right? She's just, she's a performer.
Beautiful blonde hair. Her
You realize she dyes her hair, right, bro? Plus, someone says she has extensions.
smile, her radiance, I can tell that she's got not only outward beauty, but inward beauty, and that's what I'm looking for in a woman.
I went to school with and worked with a few gay dudes that you would never think are gay, right? They just, they seem like heterosexual guys. And then there's gay dudes like this, right? Who, they're very facial. You look at this guy's face and you think he's gay. Like, there's just, he's got gay face. And, that's the first thing you would think. And by the way he talks and all these things. There's some guys who are more effeminate and just, we are shocked if they're not gay. Or you think that they haven't come to terms with it like this guy. And I'm sure Erika Kirk would know this, right? Like, I'm sure she's been, she's in New York City with Hollywood people. And Tyler Boyer ends up being the guy who introduces her to Charlie Kirk. So this is, probably 5 or 6 years before that. But she would know. But she doesn't care because she wants to be on the show, right? She'll date a gay dude to be on the show because she wants to be famous.
So how do you two ladies know each other?
We were in Miss USA together.
Oh, cool.
So she was Arizona and I was Miss North Carolina.
Congrats.
Then the other girl talks about how Jordy and her hooked up on some app and he ghosted her. And the other guy calls Jordy an asshole, and Erika Francois is going to laugh here.
Ghost. Can I hear it? Can I see this? It says delivered. You're an asshole.
So Erika Francois is laughing when the guy says you're an asshole. Like, there's her signature laugh and smile. And that's who she is genuinely. She's just one of these people that acts bubbly. And there's some hardness in there, like I said. She gets hard or whatever, but she has those like alien cold dead eyes. But she, there's people who really don't know how to be human. They're sociopaths, and I don't think that would be what she is. But there's sociopaths, for example, people with antisocial personality disorder, and they don't know how to act like people. They feel like they're alien, there's aliens who are, somehow trapped in a human body. And they have to observe other people to act, right? They have to see what other people are doing. They can't be themselves. They're not sincere or genuine. There's various levels of that thing, right? Like, lots of us don't fit in, and we see people doing shit and we're like, why the fuck are they doing that? It doesn't make sense to us, right? Like, some of us have that kind of thing. But there's other people who, they don't have human emotion. They don't emote like other people. They don't have the same kind of, emotional spectrum. And so they just, they learn to mimic. Like, there's a movie called The Mimic, right? These aliens or whatever. And Erika Kirk, she's good at laughing and doing this stuff. Like, that's natural for her. And being flirtatious, and maybe that's trained and something she's developed. That's her persona. But it doesn't work when you're grieving. Like, you can't do that. And it's a way that she can control people, especially men. Like, if you're laughing at everything a man says, smiling and being really positive with him and, batting your eyes and doing flirtatious shit, there's things that are, it's like pre-programmed in for men to respond to. So she's a way, she has a way of controlling them that way. But it clearly is, like, mostly performative, and not as performative as her grieving. Like, her grieving just doesn't work.
I want to meet somebody with the same beliefs. I'm like a really big Christian. I'm like...
So you wouldn't meet him at church or anything?
It's tough because, like, I watch it online.
He watches church online. Like, there's churches, like, everywhere. Like, There's churches in the Hamptons, believe it or not. So this guy says, I don't think I've ever met anybody who says, oh, I'm going to go to church on Sunday, which speaks to why the fuck is she on this show? And then she says this.
I go to 2 different churches.
Not just one church, but 2 churches. That's how great a Christian she is. The other piece to this is, when she wore those leather pants, she's already the center of attention. She's J.D. Vance is the keynote speaker, and she's, second to him. And, all the stuff that she's done. I mean, she was speaking with the Trump president and the vice president, and she's out there in front of all these people. And then she had to go one step further and wear the leather pants, make sure that people talk about her. Women know what to put on if they want attention, any form of attention, negative or positive, right? And so this is a person that's an attention seeker. People who want to be seen. Like, that's why she's given all these interviews and she's done all this stuff. Because she wants to milk this thing for everything it's worth, because she likes being in the public eye.
It's tough to be a believer in the city.
Yeah.
I think you're a bright light in a very dark place.
He's a bright light in a very dark place, right? Like, I mean, that's the kind of shit she says about Charlie Kirk. She's saying about this gay dude she met 2 minutes ago. But, he might get her on this reality TV show, so.
So let's go grab a mojito.
Unfortunately, I have to edit a bunch of this shit out. And it's really stupid on their part, because nobody knows about this shitty show. Peacock, which I have a subscription to, this is on Peacock. And, they now have NBA and they've had NFL, and their player sucks. So if you're watching sports on their player, it sucks. And sometimes they have a player where they allow you to fast forward and go and reverse it and rewind. But oftentimes they don't, or they'll play automatic commercials. And so you're paying for a service. I'm paying for Peacock, but then they want to get ads too. They want to force you to watch ads. And I don't really like watching sports with ads. Like, I can't do it. I'm only mildly interested in it. Like, I like doing it and watching it. But if I have to watch the ads, it's not worth it for me, right? Especially when you're paying for like a service from them. You got a subscription. But they double dip. And they're doing it stupidly here when, this is just promoting the shitty show. But, you can kind of get a feel for it. And when you see her clips here, she's always smiling, and she's always like, this is how she is as a person. The smiles and laughing and being flirtatious, like that's how she relates to not only men but women. And that's, her personality. So she really doesn't know how to grieve. Like, the grieving is an act.
We'll go grab a drink. Oh, fine.
So she goes off with this gay dude.
It's like genuinely refreshing to have a conversation with somebody that like has the same beliefs.
So you're going to see this guy's really not a Christian. I mean, neither is she, but this is just this superficial bullshit Christian stuff.
Yeah, I'm really attracted to it. Can I get your number? Yeah.
Okay, so you see she still had that gaudy jewelry, that big fucking clunky jewelry. That's her signature shit here, right?
That's what those nails are on.
They're real.
Then you give like a mean back scratch.
And so this was the only Christian on the show. This guy, Jordan, and then Erika Kirk for this, Erika Franz Franz gay, right? And so Franz gay dudes. She briefly, that's her only appearance. And so I had to search through and find it. It was fucking pain in the ass, but, I did. And, very telling. And so the reason the guy doesn't call her back, and he doesn't have any access to any other Christians. He doesn't go to church. He thinks of himself as a Christian, but seems to be hiding behind his Christianity so he doesn't have to date women, because as he reveals in this later bar scene, he's, gay, right?
Speaking of romance, how is your date?
Now, I'm going to say this again later here. I'm editing because I have to trim this down. But does this look like a heterosexual dude right here, right?
This girl, Erika, like, checks all of my boxes. She's beautiful. She's Miss Arizona. She loves God.
She has a penis. I mean, she checks all my boxes. They ask if he would bring him home to mom, and he says 100%.
Do you want to her?
And so he hems and haws, and he's like, I got an issue. Oh, yeah. And then he delivers the obvious news.
I've been holding something back.
And everybody knows what the fuck it is, right? When you see a guy, if you went to a bar, I haven't been to a bar in years, but if you see a guy sitting there like at the head of the table with 4 young women, right? You're going to say, hey, that's their gay friend, right? Like, and then you look at them and you're like, oh, that's got to be their gay friend. Like, just this alone, this picture alone. And then if you talk to them or you hear them talk, you'd be like, oh, this guy's totally gay, right? It's not hard to figure out. And then he says this.
I've been holding something back. I can't get it up.
This girl's nodding. Yeah, we understand. We all kind of know, right? Okay, so I'm going to edit out the rest of this stuff here. So, this guy says that he is surrounded by beautiful women all the time, but he can't get aroused. And they ask him if he can masturbate and get an erection, and he says yes. And I make a joke about it. As long as I'm thinking about dudes, like, so it's pretty obvious. And Erika Kirk's got a whole thing here, because this guy looks a little bit like Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, more masculine, looks more, less gay. But, there's this issue. TPUS gay is a real thing. Like, I didn't make that up. I didn't come from me. But all these guys over there that work there don't seem like, right-wing, macho kind of, manly man that you see in the conservative movement. And there's lots of gay people in there's a lot of gay dudes in the conservative movement. A lot of fake ones. There's a lot of gay dudes and religious people hiding behind religion. Also lesbian women and like become nuns. And, we all know about the weird shit in the Catholic Church and priests. But, this is a thing that Erika Kirk is surrounded by, right?
And that's why I'm just like making out with girls and not bringing them home, because it's like...
I don't think Jordan has erectile dysfunction.
Yeah, no shit, right? He's obviously gay. Like, you guys must know. All of them seem to know about the blonde girl who thinks she can solve his problem.
But I do think it's a cry for help in that he's confused about his sexuality in some way.
So then this classy girl says, all you need as a girl is to go to a handy.
And then go to a blowy.
And then the other girls all laugh because one of the girls says, if anybody can help you, it's this girl, right? She's a designated slut. But, it's obvious to the rest of them that he's gay. He wants no part of that. Look at him. That sounds disgusting. It's a real high-class show. Like, they just got these cakes out there. It's so degraded. Go handy, do blowy, and then go there, then you go. He's like, ew. Fucking ew, what are you talking about? Ew. And so, the guy's gay, right? And Erika Kirk, like, she's got this weird background. You look at the music video and all this stuff, and, she was in entertainment. She's, trained actress. Not a good one, because you can't grieve worth shit, but, she knows how to do the flirtatious things and these other things. But because of that, she's fake. This is fake. This whole thing is, whatever it is, it's fake. It's, I can't say what's fake. I don't know if Charlie Kirk is really alive. I don't know if those kids are theirs. I don't know if they're really married. I don't know any of that stuff. It's just all fake, though. It's like, how people put out social media stuff, and they're not real on social media. There's that, have you ever seen that great show on Netflix? These kids do a documentary. Somebody paints dicks all over cars. There's 2 seasons of it, and they're both pretty good. And these kids do investigative journalism. It's a mockumentary. It's a fake documentary. But there's a scene where this one kid is, they have to make a case for each other because they're both in a club that had access to, the AV department or something. And the 2 guys making a documentary make a case against each other. And this one guy, he exposes how this kid took 100 pictures for a girl. Like he said, he sent a picture to a girl in a text. But then he said, if you look into it, the guy's got 100 pictures. Like he took 100 pictures to get the right one, selfies, right? Which people do, right? People go out of their way because everyone is a publicist. Everyone has learned to be a publicist on this. Not everyone, but people who are into social media. Everyone wants to create an image and a brand, and people do that professionally as well. And then there are people who have professional teams do that. And Erika Kirk is one of those people, right? They're professionals at that. They have professional people that are there in charge of their social media, and their image and their branding. And the problem with that is these are the only Christians that are out there that are part of the political process. And like I said before, you can't serve two masters. You can't be political and a spiritual person. But these guys are the only people talking about God, and, you know, especially for Christians, and they attract Christians to them, but they're complete frauds, right? They're hanging around with the same degraded people, wanting the same degraded things. She would have been on this show if she could have been. I mean, she's on the show. It didn't take because the guy, you know, kind of realized that he's gay, and, you know, it didn't work out for her. But it could have. She might have dated this guy for a couple of years, right? Who knows? But, you know, because she's just fake. Like, she's like, you know, she's a bachelorette wannabe. And, you know, there is this kind of stuff where people say, I just want to witness and talk about God on these shows. But, you know, it doesn't work. I mean, if you had good intentions and your intentions were pure, you can't go into this den of iniquity, these low vibrational places, and talk about God and expect that you're going to, you know, make a difference, because you're not. Because, you know, I mean, people watching this show are so far fucking gone. And, you know, and of course we know about the religious aspect anyway. Anyways, let's move on to the next thing here. Okay, so the video is already an hour and 20 minutes long. I thought it was 20 minutes. I'm like, oh, it's only 20 minutes long. But I thought it was an hour and 20. And I have a bunch of little other things to cover here that are related to Erika Kirk and TPUSA. TPUSK. Candace Owens is probably going to react today on Thursday to the thing or whatever, and we'll see if I think she'll maybe give mild criticism because, you know, all of it, right? But I was looking through her stuff to see if she said anything more about Erika Kirk after that initial thing. And there's some, you know, she's covering TPUSA, but nothing really all that important. But she did put together a good compilation here of Mikey McCoy.
An adjective. Whenever they discuss Mikey McCoy, there's an adjective before they say his name. A bunch of people in the Turning Point USA orbit described Mikey McCoy in this very unique manner. I want you to take a listen to that.
But let me tell you who the heroes were in this whole thing. We're going to start with 23-year-old Mikey McCoy. And that's when the great Mikey McCoy showed up.
And my husband's chief of staff, the amazing Mikey McCoy.
My friend Mikey McCoy, the brilliant 24-year-old who at the time when Charlie was shot was 23 and was a hero that day.
I used to be known as Charlie Kirk's pastor, now I'm known as Mikey McCoy's dad.
He clicked into gear eventually.
He did.
It was amazing.
Mikey was a heroic figure on that day.
All right, so that's a great thing, because you know they're covering up for something, right? Then is he the trigger man? Like he just shoot him? Yeah, Mikey McCoy's the guy who rushed off with the cell phone. I mean, like he's, you know, this guy Tyler Boyer introduced introduced Charlie Kirk to Erika, and Tyler Boyer is, you know, again, like I want to make sure I'm not. I don't care if people are gay or any kind of thing. I don't care about almost anything in terms of what people do and beliefs that don't affect other people. But ultimately, everything is, I mean, we all affect other people one way or another. But you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, there's some things that are more egregious, but like, I don't care. Like, I just don't. Doesn't matter to me. I just, you know, there's people who are seeking God internally. That is, you know, the purpose for my channel. And everybody else. Like, you know, everybody else is, you know, grouped in together, struggling people. The moaning mass, Babaji, the second master of the Sage microsystem, referred to him as the moaning masses. And if you go to India, you get a better idea what that's about, right? Because of the poverty. Like, you know, in America, most people are living at least a good enough material life. They're weeping. Their soul, their spiritual essence is weeping. They're lonely, they're, you know, whatever, but they're, you know, disconnected, lost, incongruent. And yet, when you have a good material life, it covers that up. So, you know, all the things. But I don't care about any of that stuff. But this guy, Tyler Boyer, is a gay dude. And, you know, it's like if Don Lemons came out and said that he is just pretending to be gay, right? As a liberal person who's used it, like, you know, catfish people. if you come in and you pretend to be a right-wing Christian person and you're connecting with, and your number one target is young Christian men, and your organization is, he hired all the people and he arranged for Charlie Kirk's marriage, and then all of a sudden Charlie Kirk disappears, and now these groups of people have a hold on this organization that Charlie Kirk built with the assistance of Israel. And so, and this guy, Mikey McCoy, and his dad, and she has some kind of thing here about the Mikey McCoy, the McCoy succession plan, the pastor, and I'm sure it involves their family. But it's not going to take, because they don't have any personality. Charlie Kirk at least had enough of a personality to command an audience and to create an audience. And so, there's that, but these guys simply don't. But anyways, I'll come back to this to see if Candace Owens says anything today about what a disaster Erika Kirk was. I mean, she just shit all over all the people who were questioning the official story in one way or another. She said, everyone, if you just guys have some grace for all of us and stop posting shit on the internet, it's completely fucked, because she should be demanding to get to the truth here. But she knows, like, she goes after the truth. When if you see the interview, he asks her multiple times. I mean, I've covered it in this video and the last video. But whatever that dude's name, the guy who interviewed Jesse Waters, when he interviewed her, he kept on asking, "Do you feel safe?" Well, if she knows who killed him and she's made up with them, and she's not, Israel, right, Zionists, that seems to be the number one suspect. But if you're made up with a Zionist and you're not pursuing what Charlie was doing, then yeah, you should probably be pretty safe, right? Anyways, like I said, I'll wrap this one up later on today or tomorrow morning. Okay, so let's start here. Comedians are going after Joe Rogan. Ronda Rousey said some shit about him. I know this because YouTube's been recommending videos about that, so they must want him, take some heat. And they're going after Tucker Carlson. It seemed like that little bogus election, which, went the Democrats' way, local elections, state elections, governors and mayors and shit like that, has set about an anti-Trump, like, hey, look, America's turned on Trump kind of thing. And now it's having some effect, whatever it might be. I mean, it's all like, just like I said at the beginning. Today's, this is Friday the 7th of November, and I'm, a little bit groggy, but this came up with Joe Rogan. I was talking about the futility where just nothing happens, right?
Like the comedy mothership is so tight knit,
right?
And I also heard it's not a fun hang if you're an Austin comic.
What, the mothership?
I've heard the mothership. You have to get past Navy SEALs to get into the green room.
Right. I love Rogan. I love the club. I think it's perfect, and I don't know what you're talking about.
I have no idea, and every time I go there, I feel joy in my heart.
You fucking.
Have you ever brought someone into the green room?
Yes.
At the mothership, here's the attitude. They go like this and go, "Hey, what's up?" Like, no matter what city you say, they act like it's nothing. Like, it's like, where are you from? London.
Oh, Mr.
Oh,
Duke,
really? I bring my opener to do a Tim Dillon and Friends show. He's having a rough set. I'm sitting on the balcony watching him. I'm praying. I'm going, I hope no one is watching this. I feel an energy behind me. Rogan is standing there watching him bomb like this. Rogan goes, he's bombing, man. He can't be here. And I go, I know. I'm getting him off right now. I go, you got to go right now. He goes, what do you mean my bag's in the green room? I go, yeah. You got to get out of this club right now.
Joe's security is going to kill you.
Joe is unhappy and it looks really bad for me. Get the fuck out. He literally looked at me. He goes, he can't be here. And I go, I agree. Kill him. You want to kill him? Kill him right now. We'll break his legs. Get the Navy SEALs. Let's shoot him in the face.
Have you done the mothership?
I have.
You have? You like it? You enjoy it down there? Did you do Kill Tony?
No.
No. You didn't like it down there?
I got in trouble for being in the green room, apparently.
Oh, you did?
I got a security guard took me into the green room.
Took you right out.
And I was like, hello. And then apparently after I wasn't invited in, so apparently Joe was mad. at me.
Why haven't you been on the Joe Rogan Experience? Could be related to a little green room spat that I had with Mr. Joe Rogan at his comedy club in Austin, Texas. So I did the Matt and Shane Secret podcast, and unfortunately, Matt was out of town, but the homie Lemaire Lee, shout out to my boy, was there replacing Matt for that day. So that night after the podcast, Shane had a set at the Mothership Comedy Club. So he invited me, and in between sets, I'm chilling at the bar downstairs, and I'm getting like lightweight blown up by fans. And so I told Lemaire, I'm like, yo, can I go upstairs to the green room? I'm trying to, kick back and, lay low for a bit. He's like, man, I could take you there, but just so you know, Joe Rogan's a bit territorial about that green room. Like, so it's at your own risk. And Lemaire says, hey, Joe, it's my homie Andrew. Shake Joe Rogan's hand. And then I turn around and I see Joe Rogan like yelling at the security guard. And he's yelling, who let this fucking journalist in here? Kick him the fuck out. I can hear Joe saying this. I guess somebody told him that I was like a journalist, so he maybe thought that I was a Daily Beast reporter that had snaked my way into his safe space to ask him about ivermectin, which is a valid concern.
All right, so, that shit's happening. Okay, so I went right to the Erika Kirk thing yesterday. I watched a little bit of it, and I was driving, I was listening to it, and, disappointing, but, not disappointing because, par for the course. I'm talking about the Candace Owen thing here, where she covered Erika Kirk's disastrous interview. Disastrous for, truth. It was a truth disaster. And Candace Owens' reaction was predictable. But apparently this happened because YouTube recommended a short video with this. I missed this.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please, because today is obviously a day of celebration. Yes, in case you missed it, we officially have become the #1 podcast in the world. Not in America, Woo! Okay, not in Europe. Woo! I am talking about in the world. And Woo! The haters stay mad.
This is why she sucks right here. The haters stay mad. Her and her fucking haters, right? Those haters were your friends and were your handlers like 2 years ago, right? And Israel's pro-Zionist people being a part of that, big part of that shit. I don't begrudge people anything because the system's collapsing. And there's nothing anybody can do about it, like I talked about at the beginning of the video. Like, I don't care. Everyone's just got to scramble like rats on a sinking ship. That's what's happening. And, people don't know, but they know on a spiritual level because, there's been so much more energy in terms of post-apocalyptic movies for the past 10 years and TV shows. Zombie apocalypse and, all regular ones and post-apocalypse, all these kind of things, right? Because the energy's there and people are aware that, this is, if you have had a past life where an empire collapses, then it feels familiar. If you've seen things collapse in your life, whatever it is, there's a certain energy when something is dying, like an organization's dying, a country's dying, a corporation's dying, something big, like it affects lots of people. You can see it's on its way out, and it's obvious that's what's happening. And whatever time period, it doesn't matter. The decline is inevitable. You can't stop it from declining. You can see it like the infrastructure starts to collapse in a civilization, and there's just not the money or the will to do anything about it. Your home's falling under disrepair. Your body is as you get older. And you're just like, fuck it, I can't do anything about it. You surrender to the inevitable fate, right? But this fucking bullshit thing she says about haters here, and she's all psyched that she has the #1 podcast. Of course, that's, speaks to how bad Turning Point USA is getting beat in this, because she's competing for, they're competing for the same audience, and they're losing. But in that, she won't go after the whatever, the top dog or the Erika Kirk. I don't know what to call her. She's the star of the show, Like I said, she just won this award, and they give her a standing ovation. I just can't. I have to watch more of the speech now, little bits, because I won't show it. Because Candace Owens going to show you clips, and I'm going to show you a little bit about Candace Owens' bogus reaction. But Erika Kirk is she's the whatever love that she's getting from people, and I don't see it. I don't think people like her at all. Certainly, not based in the merit of her personality, right? But let's get into it here. So I've never had to listen to Erika Kirk's full speeches and her whatever it is. And I didn't have to listen to this, but it's hard. She is so fucking, she's one of the worst people to listen to because she's so fake. And watching somebody fake stuff, especially a grieving widow, and to do it in a superficial way that's totally insincere and not inauthentic, is brutal, right? And then I saw this Candace Owens thing, and she's showing clips. I'm like, fuck. I'm going to have to go through this again. So I've listened to some of these things like 4 or 5 times already. And it's just grades on you.
Trying to process this in their own way, and I appreciate that. But just some grace would be nice.
So I think it's a gracious answer, and I think it's a gracious request to, assert first and foremost that people are doing this because they care and they care about Charlie, and also this was a traumatic event that the entire world experienced, and also the reason why the internet is investigating is because the feds aren't, and not only are they not investigating, they're telling.
Okay, so Candace Owens is like a pit bull. She's like, the haters. Like she's a person that needs opposition. And I think that's the last piece I wanted to start with. The last one she showed. She showed 3 clips here. The problem with this is Erika Kirk is just saying the same old pro-Zionist talking points to shut the thing down, right? She's just saying the same things that that have been said over and over again that are victim consciousness things. Oh, please give me and my kids some grace, right? And, these are things that Candace Owens would call out by if anybody else said it. She helped get Trump elected. She was a big Trump guy. And, she went along with the bullshit. I mean, I don't know how these people couldn't have seen that the assassination attempt was fake, like it was some fucking WWE style event. I don't get that. Like that there wasn't some suspicion, and as she went along with the pro-Israeli stuff, Candace Owens, to whatever the narrative is, I don't know exactly how it happened, but Charlie Kirk towards the end when he was kind of disavowing Zionist support, said, "Let's bring Candace back." And they had stayed friends, but he had fucking stabbed her in the back and wouldn't platform her anymore. They told him not to platform her, and he chose the shekels over her, their friendship. So I don't know why she's even this passionate about her friend, as she calls him, because she got sheckled. Like, she was with him, and she started to ask some questions, and they told him to disavow her, and he did. Like, that's just total betrayal. And Erika Kirk was there, and they're all part of that, and the people there, and maybe she's, I'm sure she's still salty about that, but, maybe just as a business decision, she chose not to go after him. But that was, he was a shackled up piece of shit, so that anything that she covers here, trying to get to the bottom of it for their shared audience, right, it's just kind of bogus. But, let's watch this part here.
Some pretty obvious lies, right? Number one being that he was shot by a .30-06 and stopped the bullet when in a normal circumstance it would have decapitated him. Like a .30-06 will decapitate someone. And because they've been so ridiculous and then gaslighting us by being like, you're dishonoring Charlie's legacy, people are digging their feet in the ground because it's just disrupts us spiritually to watch something like that and then be told.
What's happened here is with Trump and the Trumpers is that there was a certain level of truth or energy that Trump was willing to embrace in a bogus level. Trump has always been an elitist. He looks up to elitist people. He's competitive with elitist people. He wants to be more elitist than they are. he's competing for he wants to be a part of the capstone. He wants to be a part of the inner circle, the real club, the club of the clubs, right? He wants to be a part of the top club. And he's never been about people. Like, he uses people. He's vendors and little people. He takes advantage of it, bullies them. He's a fucking piece of shit. And he embraced these narratives, and as did his people that were part of his club, his posse, his crew. They all embraced these conspiracy theory narratives, just like Turning Point did, but only when it's about other people and Joe Biden, and never about themselves and the people they take money from, and certainly not Israel. These other, countries and handlers and, profitable things. And now they're saying the same thing that the other people said. Oh, shut up, you dopey conspiracy theorists. And this was what Erika Kirk is saying. And so, let's just see how well this goes here.
Old, like nothing to see here. Now, here's what I will say about her request to consider the people that were there that day. The people that were there that day experienced a trauma because they watched Charlie Kirk die, or maybe they didn't see him die, maybe watched him get shot, heard the shot, who knows what the exact specs are. This is where it's going to be really hard for Erika to be a CEO and to be somebody who is a widow at the same time, right? Because the messaging that is coming out of Turning Point USA, so this is Erika in her CEO and her chairman capacity, has just been unacceptable, right? It can't be both. It can't be, okay, everybody, we're going to keep going, and, Mikey's going to take over for Charlie at his Liberty event that he has, which is going to be sold out. And Turning Point USA people who are directors of faith are going to be telling you, like, Mikey's got what it takes, here's what, blah, blah, blah. And then Mikey's going to tell stories about that day, go on his show multiple times. Andrew's going to talk about it. Everyone's going to talk about it. And they don't want to talk about the stuff that we care about. Like, this is what it means to have a podcast, right? You can't want fame only on your command. This is kind of the Meghan Markle thing, right? That we talk about. And I'm quoting this to Mikey McCoy. It's like, everybody wants to be famous until you're famous. Okay. We want privacy now. Well, it doesn't actually work that way. You don't get to be like, I want to marry you. And
right. So she gets a little bit more into it here with Erika J. Kirk. The problem is, let's go back to the other stuff here. Let's see where it starts. I think it starts back here. All right, this is the first fucking thing here.
Because in the opening pages, he talked about how angry he was with God. And I've never felt that.
She's talking about that C.S. Lewis thing. Now, I think I talked about this in this video maybe, or whatever it is, when I covered this part. And I had a secondary reaction to this. Well, yesterday when I listened to it, I maybe should have talked about that. But the reaction, I think, was that I didn't say before, was that, of course you should be angry at God. Like, that's part of the fucking grieving process, right? Because the most spiritual people, Jesus said, Father, why hast thou forsaken me? And not that I believe Jesus is like, he was certainly spiritual, but, him saying that is because they were fucking crucifying him, right? You have your human side, and your human side would be mad at God. Like, God, why didn't you protect him? And she says all this stuff, but it's because she doesn't really love Charlie, and there's no real grief here, right? She's just performative. These are just performative words. Because everybody struggles with God. Everybody struggles with God. Every spiritual person in the history of the world has struggled with God. Because, you have your human side, and the divine side is, from the divine realm, this is a video game and you're an avatar. From your soul's perspective, right? From your, when you get stuck here on this planet and you buy into the system, like Stockholm Syndrome, where you start believing this thing is a real fucking place, and you buy in, which is almost immediately as a kid, you think this is everything. And people who aren't connected spiritually, it is everything. And if you're connected spiritually, you still don't, you don't get the benefit of being able to detach yourself that much from your material experience. When you get older, it's easier. When you're in the death process and you start just moving more and more to your spiritual side, it gets easier. Like, it's easier for me now. But when you're this young, you're in your 30s, and these are immature souls. They're not developed. Your husband just got snatched from you, and in your mind, for doing God's work. And of course, there'd be some, processing. You wouldn't just immediately go, "Oh, God's great," like she says here.
I'm angry with God. Never have been.
I never have been.
Never have I questioned, why, Lord, are you putting me through this? Why are you testing me? Why are you? Because God is so good. And He's so...
God is so good. God is so good. But she talks about the enemy and evil. Either everything comes from God or it doesn't. And when you take the perspective, and I have in my life, it's working. You got to work at it. And you're going to get pissed at God. You just will. Like, oh, fuck, you want me to do this? You're going to get mad at your soul. You're going to have like this dialogue, this inner dialogue. Like, everybody has it. It's there. If you study spiritual history, it's just there. Everything that hasn't been scrubbed. But, she's saying she's better than Jesus, right? She's saying that she's more evolved than Jesus. That when Jesus said, "Father, why hast thou forsaken me?" and all that stuff, right? That thing where he said, "Forgive them, Father, if they know not what they do." That wasn't the first thing. You think he wasn't mad at Judas or fucking, you have human reaction. And that's why that's why you can jump ahead spiritually, because there is a natural human reaction you have to rise above. But it's a fucking process, right? But she obviously there's been no real grief from her. Just fake tears and performative bumper sticker Hallmark bullshit, right? Just this fucking Hallmark princess here, right?
So sovereign. And I know He uses everything. Even what the enemy meant for evil. And I have no regrets.
See, there's the difference between, and I'm not saying she's a legitimate religious person, but that's the difference. She's appealing to religious people. And she talks about the enemy. So, like, in her view, the enemy is the devil. And the enemy is, and she won't say it like that, it's just fucking, just so pretentious and contrived. But, this kid is acting out demonic energy, devilish energy, evil. And then God uses that acting out devilish energy for something good. But if you truly believe in God on a spiritual level, I say this all the time, you believe that there's a plan. The difference between being an atheist or agnostic is that you don't believe in chaos. And if you believe in God, some form of divinity, that means that there's a plan. There is some sort of overseeing force, right? Some sort of overseeing energy and consciousness, not force, consciousness. And this is all part of a plan. And by giving you freedom of choice, which you don't really have then, because there has to be, some sort of framework for divinity to be in everything, right? And so on planet Earth, there's these binary forces, light and darkness, good and evil. And you need both of them. You need dark and you need light. You need good, you need evil, like all these things. You need to have this divine drama. And oftentimes higher developed souls are playing the role of an evil person, of a villain that has been cast in this divine drama, based in the divine will. And so her saying that he's using evil is that he's created it, right? God created evil. God's created everything. And so God's given you the freedom of choice to choose to go against God's will. It's been done by everybody that has a, even animal, like you see this with your pets, right? Now there's, I'm going to talk about my pets at the end of this video. I'm editing now, so there's a thing I talk about my pets, and then, you'll hear that in a bit. And so, when you have pets, they sometimes will pretend they don't hear you, right? But then they know they're doing something you don't want them to do, and they pretend, that they don't hear you, or they sort of, like Tulsi will look back at us like, okay, are you guys gonna? And they'll wait, and she'll wait till I really yell, right? Yeah, like there'll be a, I have to raise my voice quite a bit, and then she'll turn around and stop doing what she's doing. But she knows. You see this with kids, all these, people who are willfully going against the authority, and the authority that they're dependent on. Little young kids, think of you as like a god. They can't even conceive of you, and you're just there doing everything for them, feeding them, all the stuff they take for granted, right? And then they still like do shitty things. And so, they disobey and they go against, even common sense. All of us do that. So, there's that God's given everyone the ability to do that. And, it must be expected that people are going to, not just people, but any being with some consciousness are going to make choices that go against what they're supposed to be doing. I talk about these hummingbirds that are supposed to be pollinating flowers, right? And they've learned to drill a hole in the side of the flower to get the nectar, but they kill the flower, and then the flower doesn't go to seed, and there's no more flowers, and they don't have any more food. And so they're fucking themselves, but they don't even know it, right? And so this is things that are done, and it's all within the framework of God's creation. And so in that, people make choices. They go against God's will. All of us do it. So, like, there should be no judgment. I mean, we judge people who, lots of people suck and suck worse than us. And there's certainly people that suck worse than us. But we all make these mistakes. And it's all part of a divine plan. And so, her trying to say that there's this other force out there that's working against God. Well, that other force exists in everybody, and it's something that we have to, tame and extinguish to whatever extent, where we stop making choices that go against God's will. And that's everybody. It's not the liberals. It's not like there's one side that's good and one side is bad, and the Christians get it, but the Hindus and the Jews and the Muslims don't. It's all fucking bullshit stuff, right? Like my side is the good side. We always make the right decision. We always are doing what God wants us to do. So this is where there's a distinction here. But anyways, there's Candace Owens' reaction.
So when I saw this moment, I was just thinking about myself and a lot of emotions and grieving that I have experienced, and all the emotions that I've shared with you guys, and the anger that I have felt. And I want to be very clear that I am not that example that she is giving. Like I could have never, and I know that so many people agree with this, I could have never forgiven Tyler Robinson for whatever part he played in this. And obviously I'm saying whatever part he played in this because I don't believe that he was the lone person involved. I don't even think he's the person that killed Charlie Kirk. But even if you believe all of those things, I never could have turned around and forgiven him that quickly, right? And I have not even processed. I definitely, when I prayed about this, asked a ton of questions to God. And yeah, she is absolutely right in what she is saying. And she is delivering to us what the biblical teaching is on these matters. But I could not feel that way. And so I was questioning myself, listening to this, like, what?
Erika's words are fake. Like, she should know that. Like, she should know that Erika's, like, everyone else does. Her viewers know that. Like, people are bailing on Erika. She's so annoying. Charlie Kirk people aren't just accepting Erika as a performance is legitimate. Anybody who has any kind of truth or part of them and ability to read people. Just because she said she forgives this guy, when she said it was fucking bogus, people knew it was fucking bogus, right? And so, whatever reason Candace Owens she's got to know that it's performative, and she doesn't seem to have any kind of relationship with her. And, it seemed like when she came in, Candace was out. Like, this whatever dynamic that was there. And so, the anger should be, Erika Kirk's the Judas here. And Turning Point people, these people that she talks about, that she was betrayed by these people and CEO, the COO and these other guys, whatever that guy's name is, I'll think of it in a bit, but Mikey McCoy and these other people. And all the people that are pushing this narrative and trying to close shit down and she's running the show. Like, she's all on board with that. Like, TPUSK is completely, Tyler Boyer's the guy's name. All those people. She goes after them, but okay, you don't want to go after this fake grieving widow, but everyone's like knows it's fake as fuck, right? Just because someone says those words, I'm not mad at God. It's a process. The 5 stages of grief is a real thing. Maybe it could be a little bit better, and they don't include gratitude, like when you're finally grateful for something. But she's like, oh, Charlie's up in heaven. You don't know that. Like, that's just some fucking bullshit idea. Like, you don't have an experience of him up in heaven. And you would be in shock. Like, there's just a natural shock that when a soul, because it's not about the person, but when you are connected to a soul, and that soul is with you every day, if there's a long death process and you're prepared, it's easier. And, if there's some separation, right? Like when my daughter, committed suicide, it was years after she had moved out. Like, I hadn't seen her in a number of years. Had it happened when she was a child, it's some, tragic circumstance and a momentary thing where it's just pure shock, some sort of an accident, right? Where they're, like a car accident or something where somebody dies, like when I fell off a zip line, like that kind of thing. It can be a shock, it's a shock to people. And your significant other, your partner, who, it's hard because you're splitting up the work. Like, you're splitting up she's now running this company, which I'm sure she didn't know all the stuff that you need to know. I mean, again, just in terms of her performance, like if you're buying into the official story, which, of course we're not, she now has to be a CEO of this company and raise her family, their daughters. Like before, she was able to do the mom stuff, and he was doing the dad stuff. And now she's got to do both. And, the stress and immediately with, losing somebody, having them ripped away from you. And you have to unpack it. Like you don't, it takes a while just to adjust to those circumstances. But she's saying that no, I'm not mad at God. Of course she'd be mad at God. So like, she should call bullshit on that, right? If she's not mad at God, then she wasn't married to the guy. It wasn't a real marriage. Like, she's not really experiencing this. Because, none of this, she's more concerned about giving speeches and performing and hobnobbing with the fucking important people, the rich and famous, the Trumps and the J.D. Vances and the other celebrity and people that she's out there, and getting fucking awards. Like, I'll cover tomorrow when she gets this Fox News award. Fuck is that, right? And, instead of focusing on her internal process, which part of that would be, you'd be like, God, why? Why did you do this to me, God, right? Why did you do it? Now, over time, you can realize why God did it. You can realize what had to happen. That's, misery is divine blessings. But it doesn't happen, like, fucking automatically. That's inhuman. Like, well, if you're a reptile, sure, you can come out and start giving bumper sticker fucking Hallmark card lines. You can start, saying bullshit Bible quotes that not that they're bullshit quotes, but they're, that you don't really believe in, that you're just saying these things. And Candace Owens should be calling her out on that, because it's obvious that's, that she didn't really grieve.
What is wrong with me? Like, well, actually, what is wrong with me? Why am I not able to get to forgiveness? Why am I not able to, or why am I rather questioning and asking why, and why doing this to somebody so young? I mean, even my dad, by the way, was so impacted. He met Charlie a couple of times, but he was so impacted by Charlie's assassination that it made him go, I want
to be a better person. I want to move on from this, but her saying what's wrong with her, that she can't do this, like Erika Kirk did. You have to be purely spiritual. None of these people are. They're religious, but they're really materialistic people. They're political, and there's no more heavy grossness in terms of material world than politics. Like, politics and spirituality don't mix, because politics is always all about manipulating the material system and using force and using deceptive means to achieve political goals and agenda. That's always against spiritual. Even if people are talking about God, it's never spiritual. And Erika Kirk's not a spiritual person. She's at best a religious person, and mostly, a bad actress. And so this was fucked, right? for all the things that I've said here.
Do you think they've caught your husband's killer?
So, something.
See, it's, you know, Candace Owens is saying they're lying and I don't like it. And something feels off, something's not right. And she invokes her, you know, her dreams and her intuitional, like, you know, religious / spiritual, you know, spiritual 101 type stuff, where she's, you know, using intuition and other things to say this doesn't look right. Like when that guy got up there, she covered that guy who she talked to, who was someone that she knew, and he sent her his reaction video to Charlie Kirk dying, right? That reaction video. Well, let's just go show you that, right? So when all these video clips started coming out and people started reacting to them, there was one video clip of a guy taking a camera down, and people were speculating it looked like a holograph machine, and I covered all this. And she knew the guy and reached out to him. And there was varying stories about this, and they defended this guy at TPUSK. But this guy decided to, when he was talking to Candace Owens, decided to send her this thing.
And you watch Charlie Kirk get shot, what do? What would you do? I'm asking you this question at home. What would you do? I say two things that are pretty commonplace, right? You choose between fight or flight. You run towards him or you run away, and you run away far because you don't know what's happening. Is it one shot? Are there multiple people? Are you being pursued? There's no way to process that. If you are going to be in flight, you should be sprinting and maybe calling 911. That's what I would have done if I wanted to run away and not towards Charlie to make sure he's okay. But this second close friend of Charlie chose to run just a few yards away up to a grassy knoll to take out his phone. A couple of seconds later, he takes out his phone and he begins recording himself. It's a selfie video. Takes a video of himself. So let's watch that video.
They just shot Charlie. They just shot Charlie.
So compare this to Erika Kirk, right? You know, this is fucking weird and fake, but she's been doing it on a much bigger scale, right?
They just shot Charlie. They just shot Charlie. He's dead. God help him.
That's the first time it was announced, actually, that Charlie Kirk was dead. It's kind of weird. Go ahead, catch your breath, hit rewind, watch it again, watch it over and over again like I did, because you're probably thinking out loud, what the F did I just watch?
So she goes into how weird the guy is and how...
What's going on? What were Charlie's closest friends and allies and the people that were going to carry on the torch doing? Picking up phone calls that they were already on and filming themselves and prematurely announcing when not a single person could have known that Charlie Kirk is dead. Less than a minute. Declared dead. No instinct to run towards him. No instinct to run further away, maybe because you got to backtrack and go get the cameras a minute after this ends is when he goes and gets the cameras, okay? Rather, let me record me and my reaction, which doesn't actually feel to me to be too distraught, okay? In fact...
So, let's go back to Erika Kirk here. So, when you see something like this, we can all judge it for it's her reaction and what she's doing. You know, if you're watching a TV show or movie, do you buy the person's performance, right? Does that person, you know, make you feel something? Does that person make you feel like, oh, wow, I feel bad for her? Her husband just died. You know, other than your own, whatever you're going through emotionally, if you're a Charlie Kirk person and you feel bad and you're a right-wing Christian person who sees these performances all the time and it's just normal for you and you're not capable of seeing through them, yeah, that's all right. But Candace Owens a cynical pit bull. She's like, I can't wait to go after the haters, right? And she doesn't have a friendship or relationship with Erika Kirk based on everything that I've seen her say. And so her viewers are knowing, if you look through the comment section, they know that Erika is bullshit. That's just not working out, right? Right, if you go through the comment section of this video, they know that she's the fucking fake fraud. That's why they're over at Candace and not at TPUSK, right? And, you know, she doesn't pull off her performance. You have a reaction because it's fake as fuck. You know, it's somebody who's insincere, who's acting. You know, it's like some high school girl who's capitalizing on some suicide in her school for some piece of shit kid to her that she hated, that she didn't even know, like wouldn't even talk about, some like popular high school girl, right? And she, you know, there's that movie with Robin Williams, and his son was a complete asshole, and his son accidentally hung himself while pleasuring himself and choking himself like he was like some gross thing he was doing. And Robin Williams wrote a fake suicide note, and everyone at the school pretended they were good friends with the kid and were trying to get in on the grief. And they get in there, oh, like, yo, so he was so great, you know, and they were posting social media stuff. This is what Erika Kirk seems like, right? She's not really sad Charlie's gone. She's using this for attention. Look at me, I'm the grieving widow. And she's sucking up as much energy as she can. Like, everybody sees it. Like, everybody fucking awake can see it. That's why there's all these memes and shit. And Candace can certainly see it because it's what she does. You know, like, Erika's part of the, you know, the others, right? The haters. And her organization is, you know, going the opposite direction of Candace's, you know, videos. And Candace is winning so much that she's #1 podcast. But she won't call this fake shit out, right? You know, she knows. She's looking at this thing. And Erika, from day one, I was like, who the fuck is this? Like, it wasn't believable for a second, right? Like, you know, only your own emotional reaction, your own feelings that you were having, you would be like, and you're not wanting to go after a grieving widow. But other than that, it's 100% fake, right?
I'm so grateful for is that we have one of the most incredible teams for this case. I would never wish it upon anybody to have to go through what we are going through. To have seen the autopsy report, to have seen the different evidence portions that have been collected. I trust our team.
I trust our team.
So it's not a straight yes or no, and the implication could be
it's a yes. She doesn't want to be, you know, wrong. So she's saying, I trust our team. I trust our team. I trust them. She doesn't ever want to answer the questions directly. You know, she's trying to be this higher developed soul who's so religious and so loves God. She'd never say anything to God about this stuff, right? She'd never say that stuff. You know, this is something just popped. Erika is a lot like my ex. My ex would do the same kind of fake shit. And it's just so annoying. And I had to like fucking just ignore it and buy into it, which sucked for me, right? It just sucked. Because if I said anything about it, she would get suicidal and flip the fuck out. So it was like, you know, my behaviors were, you know, manipulated. And that's why I don't tolerate this bullshit in the comment section or these other things. You know, you don't try to force your bullshit narrative on me. That's why I call people out in the comment section and these other things. And I did this kind of stuff. I'm not going to be in that position again. Like I did my time, right? But we had this negative interaction with Kamlesh Patel. He kind of chewed us out, and it was in front of the like 3 worst people I had got into it with and didn't like, and they just happened to be there. So I knew it was like, this is just divine. I knew that it was divinely orchestrated. But he was slamming me and my ex, and my kids were there for doing, what we were doing in terms of homesteading and all these things. I was just following the divinity within me, and I made the right decisions. But he did it in such a sloppy way, and I'm like, holy shit, this guy's a fucking moron. Like, it was my first indication that this guy was not master potential. Like, he was trying to do something, and he just got it wrong, and it was really bad. And my ex, because of her, like, just weird shit that she had on, she couldn't blame herself ever, because she was a perfectionist and could never be self-correcting, because she was always the victim, right? I've talked about this before. And she couldn't blame this guy because he was the successor. She couldn't, say, oh my God, this guy was fucked up, right? And it was a negative, because it was this thing where my family and I had been doing this stuff, homesteading and homeschooling, and all based in the Hallmark principles. And I just wanted to get it out there and see if there was a yes or no, if there was any kind of future to deal with in terms of the organization, right? Because, when you're homesteading and you're doing the things we were doing, you realize at some point you need community. And our community was Hallmark Abhyasis, people who do the meditation. And so, we had tried all these things, and my ex had sabotaged them, and, there's no path forward. And so we went to India, and I just want to present these to the future master of the system. And I had all these, resources. It was like a research project, and it had value because it has value to you guys. Like, I have all the stuff I talk about here, like all the stuff that that helped me become something that I share with you guys was from this time period and going through all these things, including the stuff I'm talking about here with my ex and this guy. And he just, in a dopey way, didn't, really understand what's going on. And a few other things happened, which I've talked about in the Journey series and other places, which made me realize this guy's a fucking moron. And it played out that way, right? The whole stuff with him turning into Heartfulness into a cult. But I had seen him as a spiritual person. He was. He just wasn't smart, and he just wasn't up for the task. And my ex couldn't blame him, and she couldn't blame herself. So she blamed me. Like, she all of a sudden went back and made it in her mind that something that was, a lot of it was her idea. It was somehow my fault, right? Like, nothing she did was wrong. And he was 100% right. So I had to be the fucking person. And that, mercifully led to the end of our marriage, which was great for me. But she's very similar to Erika Kirk here. When Erika Kirk says, that she was never mad at God, right? But the evil ones, this evil that's out there, like, what? Like I buy the official story that it's just some random patsy, but it was evil that made this thing happen. And, Charlie Kirk was evil. Like, he was pushing a fucking genocide. Like, he was a Judas, right? He wasn't a Jesus, he was a Judas. And she was a part of that. So they're sold out America. They're sold out, for Trump and Israel, and for shekels and fame, and, selling a bullshit Republican Party that fucking, just because Joe Biden sucked doesn't mean Trump doesn't, right? And, not having, Candace Owens is coming to terms with that with the left-right paradigm stuff. But, this is why people like Candace Owens, because she's having real reactions, like going through a real grieving process. At least she's doing it better. She's a better actress. And people are saying, oh my God, she was so much better than Erika. Like, that was some of the first thing that I was seeing in the comment section. That people were saying that Candace Owens was having a real reaction to Erika Kirk's fake one. And so for Candace Owens to buy into this thing, when all she ever does is call bullshit on these people, these betrayers of her friend Charlie Kirk, right?
That she trusts the team to find more or to get answers, or if this is not it, to tell her what the true answers are. And I think she goes on for like 10 minutes about, she reads all this shit into this,
Like Erika Kirk's secretly saying, that she's open. No, she's not. She's trying to shut it down. She's using Zionist talking points, manipulative, victim-conscious talking points to shut this thing down. Like everybody fucking sees it. I mean, everyone should see it, right? And so, it's when you betray she's being completely different about Erika Kirk, who's the worst one. She's the demon in this story. Like she's just god awful, faking a fucking bullshit grief response through her acting and crocodile tears. So then there she gets into the Catholic thing here.
Discusses Charlie's affinity for Saint Michael. Take a listen.
When we first started dating,
So this gets into Candace's bogus thing about how Charlie Kirk was becoming Catholic, and that somehow fucking, the Catholic bullshit with the fucking abusive children. I mean, the religion's been corrupted. The politicians, it's all fucking corrupted. Human beings suck, and we're going in the wrong fucking direction. Like, there's nothing to see here. There's nothing higher. There's nothing better. There's no fucking solution. There's no, we don't deserve it. Like, do you think human beings deserve something better than we're getting? Like, we deserve better? No, because fucking we've marched along with this, demonic system, and we've gone along with it, and it's just got more degraded over time. Where this, bullshit, fake religious people, the Kirks and TPUS gay, which is, all fucked up and weird, and all these, backstories and all this stuff that's, they pretend to be one thing and they're actually the opposite, and they're, conning young kids and, all this stuff, the shekeling and all this stuff. And so it's just a fucking mess. And, Candace Owens has done a pretty good job of calling out the mess, but she won't call out the person who's, the biggest, not just the mess, the corruption. And the biggest piece of shit in this is Erika Kirk, because she's like pretending to be a grieving widow and it's not. And it looks to me, like I said in my last video about this, there's kind of three options here. One, they're not even married and Charlie Kirk's still alive. Like that kind of option. The whole thing's fake. And she's just an actress. And that's really bad. Maybe the worst thing in terms of being a deceiver. And they're just conning the American people, and this is all fucking just staged and whatever. The second thing is she was married to him, but it's like some kind of fake marriage, whatever it is, whatever kind of thing you define their marriage as. And she either knew about this, that she knew that they were going to do this and she's part of it, or once it happened, they just said, hey, look, you either go along with this or we'll kill you too, like, or whatever it is, like some kind of thing like that. And she's being complicit. They probably didn't just out and out threaten her. But what she's not doing is calling for truth, for her, seeking truth for this. You know how people are when they lose a loved one. And I mean, look at the Pat Tillman family. And the one person they have to get is the wife. Because if she gets up there and she starts saying, I think Trump's a part of this, I think Israel's a part of this, or I think, there's more to this story, I don't believe the official story, and she starts disavowing Kash Patel and Trump and Netanyahu and these other people, and she starts talking about how Charlie felt like Israel was, the pro-Israel lobby were bullying him, and she starts saying shit like that. She starts saying shit that Candace was saying. It doesn't matter when Candace says it. But when she says it, and she has the power of the grieving widow behind her, they have to investigate. They have to. She says this guy's just a patsy. If she says any of those things, which are, obviously, I mean, in terms of a secondary version of reality, not the official bullshit story, but a deeper look into something, those are the things that a grieving widow would say. An angry, grieving widow. But she's not getting angry. Why the fuck isn't she angry? This husband that she said that was the love of her life just was plucked from her. And then she's just, she somehow goes through all the stages of grief. Although she cries constantly. She's sad all the fucking time when she's on camera. So she's the biggest piece of shit out there, right? And Candace Owens just won't go there. And it's just, I mean, it's not anything to do with the facts. It's not anything to do with what TPUS gay is doing. It's the fake fucking performance. Like, people immediately reacted to that. Millions of people watch Candace Owens, right? Okay, so let's look at some of the comments here. The way Candace Owens was being so respectful of Erika, despite what she really might be thinking. Well, she means she's lying to you, right? It's just a huge indicator how solid and truthful her relationship with Charlie was. No, it's not. Whatever reason, she's honoring Charlie. Like, this is, you're just doing the same thing she is. The part that intrigued me is as Erika was talking about how she learned of what happened to Charlie. She said Mikey called her instantly, the whole thing with how he basically calls her milliseconds after he shot Charlie. He turned and walked away instantly. He was able to process what happened to Charlie and think to call her before Charlie even hit the ground. It seems so fishy. Of course it does. Because she's validating a bullshit story. The only reason Erika is not directly attacking Mrs. Owens is that she knows how many TPUSA kids across the country aren't buying the lung gunman's horseshit. Erika knows how many TPSU kids TPUS gay kids are thrilled to watch Candace Owens to fight for the truth. Don Jr. tiptoes around that dodges the same question. So this is the stuff, right? I received 44 emails from Erika, Kirk, or TP soliciting donations. I finally unsubscribed because it's nonstop, right? This is the stuff that, people are saying here. I personally think Candace is highly suspicious of Erika, but mentioning this would be political suicide right now. Erika is rocking the fat diamond rings, real salt of the earth type Christian. Oh dear, it's not looking good for Erika in the comments section here. Someone's got, that's not Erika there. When Erika says, I forgive him, she was manipulating people to accept the lie that Tyler's relationship is a lone gunman. Not okay. What strikes me is the most about the TP interviews post-assassination, including Erika, is that the responses aren't from an emotional foundation, but rather from a explanatory framing. If my loved one was shot and died, I would be absolutely nothing to do with it. I had absolutely nothing to do with it. My response would be visceral and earnest. Of course she had something to do with it, right? Like, she's clearly, they had to have her ahead of time. I think Candace wanted to say more on Erika, but held back. Well, this is all like you're telling she's lying, right? That Candace Owens is lying. They had to, what I was saying before, they had to get the widow. They had to have the widow ahead of time. They had to be able to control the widow, right? Because what you're doing here with any of these kind of shootings, any kind of this martyrdom, what you're using is victim consciousness. And who has the right to be who has the voice of the victim, the grief and the tragedy is the loved ones, is the family, is the spouse, right? If somebody's killed, then, you had all these 9/11 widows and moms and people who were calling for deeper investigation into 9/11. And it was a whole nightmare for the official story. They had to silence these grieving family members, right? They had to, compromise them in some way. And then take ones who aren't there, like bring in fake ones and act, controlled opposition. But if Charlie Kirk is going to be killed, then they have to get Erika. They have to make sure they can control her grief and her reaction and make sure she doesn't say anything to implicate something that would destroy the official story. Because she's saying the same thing as Candace Owens was, this thing would be fucked. So they had to have her ahead of time. Every time I see Erika, it's like watching an episode of Days of Our Lives. Yeah, they said that. It's bad soap opera. She's a bad soap opera actress. She's a walking Hallmark card. I'm sorry, but I don't believe one word that Erika is saying. Erika just rubs me the wrong way. Nothing sincere with her. The whispering is weird. Maybe it's just me. No, it's every fucking buddy. And these people don't want to say it, right? I became a widow at 34 with 2 young children. The grief I felt was beyond me. Although financially secure, within days I've been a walking shadow of myself, reduced to 39 pounds, 86 pounds. Something's not right here with Erika. Yeah, they just, all these things, 77 thumbs ups, right? I mean, this is all these things. Erika claims her phone died while everything was happening and stayed off it for weeks while she isolated. But Trump and Tucker both said they spoke with her on the phone multiple times after Charlie's death. Again, calling bullshit, which is, call me crazy. I don't find Erika sincere. It's a gut feeling. And these people in this comment section, they don't have the kind of freedom that they have when they come to my comment section when I'm talking about what a piece of shit she is, right? Because then, you have all these people like you guys. You have a freedom here where these people are a little bit like, they don't really want to say it. And there's people who think it and they're just lurking. And so the majority of people over at Candace, they're having the same reaction that everyone else should be having, and we're having, that Erika's thing is performative. Your analysis of Erika's interview, blink twice if you're being held hostage, Candace. Erika was a handler. Why are we ignoring this? It's so obvious. And there's one more. That's it. That's the last one. So, there's 26 references. There's about 20 of them are in the comment section. And these people are hesitant to speak up. And maybe there's some where they don't use Erika's name. I'm just searching for her name here. But, there's Candace's audience knows, right? So just whatever. Blink twice if you're being held hostage. All right, so let's get to my voiceover. I answer some comments about all this kind of stuff. Not this stuff, but I forget exactly what it is, but I think I don't know. I'm not sure. But it's well worth watching. Okay, before we go to the comments, me answering comments, talking about comments. I went and ate breakfast, and Fox News was on for whatever reason. I must have turned it on because of the bogus award thing. I don't know. I don't have a memory of it. I was watching something on Amazon, a movie called The Dark Web 3 something. And I was halfway through. It was a pretty good movie for truther stuff. It had a lot of, there's some funny parts and whatever. But anyways, so Fox News was on, and they were showing Erika Kirk and saying, it was the biggest moment of the night when she got up there and she was talking about America's worth fighting for. It's just a full fucking fake. So I have a few thoughts that I, want to share with you now about the whole Erika Kirk thing and all of it. And what I was saying earlier about being futile, that nothing happens. And what I should have said, I said that I cover all these things. I'm saying this because I'm going to put this audio in the Journey series, and I can't, I'm not putting what I said because it was video clips in there. So, but what I was talking about in the beginning of this video was how that I cover all these various subjects over the years, so many different things. Most of them I've forgotten about, and nothing ever happens. Like nothing happens. The truth comes out to whatever extent to people who are not buying the official story, and nothing ever happens in the material world. There's no consequences. There's no acknowledgement that, yeah, you guys are right and we're wrong. I mean, very seldom do you see that. Once in a while you see that. Remember when they were saying Trump was always right. Now, Trump wasn't always right. Trump is a piece of shit, but he's not a real truther. But, he said certain things about Biden. Some of the things were right, but they never acknowledged it. It wasn't really acknowledged by the powers that be. Biden didn't admit to him. Same thing with Trump. They never admit to it. There's never any real coverage by the news. It's just all speculative. And maybe everyone kind of knows, all right, yeah, the way that we handled COVID was complete bullshit. And the way that we forced the vax was wrong. Like, it's not acknowledged. Like, everybody kind of knows it, but it's never said, hey, sorry, all you anti-vaxxers, you guys were right. Or sorry, all you, whatever group of people, you guys were right. They just, everyone kind of is like, yeah, we got caught lying, but they don't say anything. They don't admit to it. There's never like this moment where it's like, yeah, we fucked up and you guys were right. And, this is what happened. And there's some acknowledgement. And the official story is now what truthers have believed for years, right? This just doesn't happen. It just never happens. Jeffrey Epstein didn't commit suicide, all these things. It just, you'll never see it. And I say it all the time. I say you're never going to have that. But, but I when I said nothing happens, I meant on the material world, that nothing happens materially, because plenty of things happen internally. Like all you guys who have been awakened to whatever extent you're awakened, even the right-wing dopes, if you have a little bit more conscious awareness of what's going on, it makes you more cynical and there's some negative effects, but you're aware and alive. Now, ultimately, the waking up is the spiritual awakening and finding divinity within you. And very few people get to that part. I got to that part first. And, my brother had been like an AM radio guy who he pushed a lot of these so-called conspiracy theories, early old school truther. So, and I had been that even as a kid. Like when I was a kid, I did a report on the Civil War. And I was used to reading adult shit. Like I was a kid that would go in the library and I would read about these animals that I was interested in. And I had this high vocabulary. So I would find adult books and read them. And I found a book about the Civil War talking about how it was an economic war and not about slavery. That the South was kicking the North's ass, and the North realized that the South was going to have all the power. So they, had this Civil War. And slavery was a part of that, free labor, but it was a small part. And so I, submitted this report. I don't know what my teacher thought, right? But it was my first kind of, truther thing. And then Abraham Lincoln had said some racist shit, like he wasn't this guy that they said. It was my first kind of interaction with the, with the bullshit official story, historically. And I remember that report. Think about all the reports I had to write when I was a kid. And there's a few things I remember. Like when I was in high school, we had to do something. And I don't know what the assignment was, but what I produced was I made a short story about, or a commercial about how there was toothpaste that was 100% made out of sugar. And it was my first attempt at something comedic. I didn't even think about it that way. I just thought that would be funny. And one of the lines was, you don't have to worry about cavities because you won't have any teeth, right? Because you're brushing your teeth with sugar. And the teacher read my report. I was a sophomore in high school. And my teacher read my whatever I had done. I was mostly a quiet kid, unless I had friends in the class. And I always sit in the back and, I just was quiet, right? It was just, and I would go into a zone just to try to get through the day. It was so fucking boring. And so, high school is just such a brutal thing. And it's like a prison-like environment. It was like you're doing time. And the teacher read my report and everyone was laughing. There's multiple jokes in there. And, it was my first thing. Oh, well, other people think I'm funny. And, because I thought it was funny. But then I went up and she said I had to go get my paper. And everyone's looking at me like, oh, he wrote that? Fucking, because they didn't even know who I was. I was an anonymous person, right? But, these were two of the things that stood out because, I make jokes here and I do truther things. And so those were two of the things that were a part of what I do now, my inevitable outcome as a, whatever this job is, whatever you want to call it. This was, there was these things that were a part of that. There was other things that had almost nothing to do with it. I guess learning math and learning how to read and write, those things are all important, but they're not as substantial. But anyways, it was my first, delving into this idea that the official story was bullshit. So I had some of that stuff, but the spiritual aspect, when I was 29 and I did the Hallmark system, of course I was going to a school, a hippie school that was about Howard Zinn's book, People's History, so that was kind of truthery stuff too, right? But the bigger awakening I had was more about, the spiritual stuff, because that's the most important one. But in all that, the truth community has value because it helps you change and see the world from a more mature, more realistic, more honest, more godly place. And especially if you're doing it right. So there is an effect, and everything starts in the internal world first. And that's something that I talk about a lot more than other people, right? The internal world, processing things from the inside out, because changing on the internal world is why we're here. It's what our soul has brought us down here for. It's not about changing the material world. But all these people, Candace Owens is a big material person, as is all these other people. And if you're a spiritual person and you're trying to use your spiritual knowledge, like this is an Oprah Winfrey thing, where you're using your spirit to manifest a better life, it's not what it's about. What it's about is changing internally based in difficulties you go through, and your material life, sacrificing your material life so you can advance spiritually. And very few people get to that stage, and when they do, it's hard. It's just it's a battle. It's a battle with your ego. It's a battle with your natural human inclinations. But in that's where the real change is. That's what I focus here on. Unfortunately, there's just a small groups of people here that kind of get it. Maybe a couple thousand people come and go, but that they're affected by it. And so that's where the truth community is effective. And if you had people change internally, like I say over and over again, then the system would mirror what's inside of you. You would manifest a system. We would manifest a system collectively that would be a mirror of our internal evolution. So that's something that can be achieved. And there are people that are picking up on that, but it's just, few and far between at this point. But there is something there, right? Being in the change business, so my dogs aren't with me today on my bed. Usually I bring my dogs in here, but they were dirty yesterday. And, I was watching TV or something. Maybe I was eating lunch or whatever it was. I take my dogs outside. And I had the windows open because it's kind of, nice outside. It's probably in the 60s. And something smelled like horse shit or cow shit. And, I have a neighbor who fertilizes his pasture. And, the windows were open, but it was a pretty strong smell. And, later on, I petted my dog Tulsi. And she had this, clumped up, dried stuff that must have been, some kind of, I don't know what it was. She laid in fucking shit out there and rolled in it, because dogs do shit like that. I love my dogs, but they do fucked up things like roll in fucking shit, right? They also eat shit. They'll eat chicken shit, and then they'll lick me on the face, right? There's a picture here. I'll put it up here. It's as a little kid, my hippie sister, I had a brother who was in Vietnam, and he was affected by liberal stuff, but he was more of a right-wing person. He was a truther, so he's kind of he's neither, but And then my older sister, his younger sister, was a hippie. Was a liberal hippie. Grew up in the 60s, right? And she came home with a white puppy, a white fluffy puppy that I named Fluffy. And I loved that fucking dog, right? And you see it, it's licking my face. At some point, everyone was watching me interact with the dog, and I said, I think she loves me, or something like that. I said the word love. Love is love. And my dad wrote that caption on this picture. It was like some bullshit thing he did. But, I was cute back then. And so, and I was the youngest. And at some point, I was trying to train the dog. And my parents were not happy with my sister. I didn't, I was 6 or 7 in this picture. I was probably 7 or, whatever. And, we had trouble training the dog because no one else cared about the dog but me. And my parents were pissed at my sister for getting it. And one day I came home and they were like, Fluffy's gone. She was deaf. Right, she was deaf. And we could never train her because she was deaf, so she wouldn't be able to hear our commands. And I bought that shit. Until, fairly recently when I had a memory of that. I'm like, those motherfuckers lied to me. That dog wasn't deaf. How the fuck did they know it was deaf? Right? I understand them being pissed off, when one of their kids comes back from their adult life and drops off a fucking puppy that they didn't ask for at their house. I can understand their, not being happy with that. But, it was a bummer for me. They were lying motherfuckers, right? And so, and I have always liked dogs licking me on the face since I was a kid. There was a next door there was a golden retriever we had fence yard, right? All our yards were fenced. And our neighbor had a metal fence that had a hole in it, and there was a big giant golden retriever over there named Blondie, who was just left out in the backyard with nothing, right? Just out there. My sister brought home her dog called Libby, and Libby eventually lived with us. Libby had been abused and didn't like to play. I've talked about Libby when all of a sudden Libby came to life, and this guy was going to this neighbor's house that Blondie lived in, the Lyonses, the people next to us were called the Lions. Their last name was Lyons. And some guy had a pit bull. I think that it was a fighting pit bull, right? Like it was a fucking, like he was dog fighting. And he had it on a strong leash, like a short leash. And we were somehow out front, and we were watching this guy drag this dog into the Lions' house. And Libby jumps out from behind us and just runs. Libby was named after, it was a hippie dog named Liberation, Libby had been abused. I wish I had some pictures of Libby. Libby looked a little bit like a Benji dog, but more hair, bigger. It was a bigger dog. It was kind of a mutt. And Libby comes to life and runs out that front door and fucking goes after this pit bull like fucking crazy. The pit bull ends up like getting on top because it was fucking, it was a pit bull and it was like trying to fight. But we were like, what the fuck, Libby? Like, all of a sudden, like you come to life like out of nowhere. You just charged and goes right after the fucking dog. Libby had never shown any signs of aggression, right? It was a hippie dog. Another time we had this bar called Cypress Arms. And there was I had to go to this place called Perry's Pharmacy. And Perry was kind of a prick, and maybe because he didn't like to be shoplifted. And he would stand behind us when we picked out candy. Like I used to get a quarter, and I could buy like 5 pieces of candy or a comic book. I think comic books were like 10 cents, and then they were like 25 cents. Inflation. And we'd go, and we'd have to walk by this bar called Cypress Arms. The windows were all blacked out. It was this place. It was like scary. Like, my parents had made it like this scary bar that I had to walk by. And there was some guys there, and the one guy was like 6'4" and big. And there was 2 other guys, and they were beating the shit out of him. They stopped and chased him down like they were all driving. They're all drunk. It was like the middle of the fucking day. And the 2 guys are beating the shit out of the big guy. And I'm outside watching it. Then my sister comes out. And then my mom bursts through, pushes past us. And she's got a broom, and she starts hitting these fucking guys. My mom was like 5'2", 5'4". And she's like, she weighed like 120 pounds. And she's like, get off my lawn. I'm like, holy shit. So this was like this whole thing, this viewing of the world through this front door, right? This there are a bunch of other shit things that happened too, but those are just 2 of them. But anyways, they gave away my dog. That's the picture I have here, like I said. I'll put the picture in right away so I don't forget. But, I was thinking about this in terms of all these things I'm saying, that I'm trying to communicate to my dogs. And, we have Buddy who reminds me of my older son. And he had an Irish twin, Anna, who, committed suicide. And, my other daughter said they have these same personalities. And Buddy, my older son was like perfect. Like he was just a great kid, but he was always worried about doing the right thing, which is a good thing, but, a little bit difficult. And our dog Buddy sometimes he's just a pussy. Like we wish he'd be more of like a dog. He's very hesitant, very whippy. Sometimes we call him the F word, not that F word, the other one. And just, he's really just not, masculine, right? There's a time where Tulsi was in heat. We eventually got her fixed because we just couldn't have, puppies and stuff. And he was in love with Tulsi. Like Tulsi came in, she was younger than Buddy. But Buddy weighs 7 pounds. Farley weighed 4 pounds. Papillon, she was tiny. He's longer than Tulsi, but skinnier. And Tulsi immediately started bullying him, even as a puppy. She would chase him, and then, she kind of bullies him. And Tulsi's very aggressive. And, but both of them were pissing me off. Buddy was being such a pussy yesterday. He did something. And Tulsi had rolled in this shit, right? And so I had to quarantine them because I didn't want them. We have these comforters that we use. We have a comforter here and one that we watch TV with. And we got these comforters at Costco, and they have down in them. And you're supposed to dry clean them. And I'll wash them regularly. I'll wash them. You're not supposed to do it. And, so we want to make them last. And then I'll put them out on the line. Sometimes I'll just put them on the line when it's a real sunny day, and they'll get cleaned by the sun, right? but it's kind of a pain in the ass. And so when the dogs get in bed, the white comforters, they have to be clean. And when they're not clean, it fucking sucks for me, right? And so, I like having them here. And they're kind of bummed that they're not in here, right? But, I can't communicate to them. Like, don't roll in fucking shit if you want to come and be, I got some fucking standards, right? Like, it's not the green room at Joe Rogan's, but, one of my deal breakers is if you're rolling in shit, you're not going to get on my bed, right? I mean, it's just, it's there. But I can't communicate that to them, right? No matter what I say, they're not going to understand it. And, if you don't catch them in the moment, which I didn't because I didn't see her do it, it's like, I don't mind you guys licking me on the face. That's kind of cool. Tulsi, Buddy's scared to do that, but Tulsi does it. And she really does it. Like, she goes to town. And she's very, strong, like for a little dog. She weighs about 13 pounds. And she's not pure Papillon. She's got a little bit something else in her. And she's, she's kind of a powerful little dog. I mean, she's kind of a force of nature. But, if you're gonna like fucking eat fucking chicken shit, I don't want you looking at my face. I mean, I'm not being a control freak, but I have to have some standards, right? I don't want to have chicken shit on my face, right? And plus, it's the breath that's there, and you can't communicate to that, You say you can tell them no when they're eating chicken shit, but they'll never get it. Like, they'll never fucking get it. And I feel like it was talking about the spiritual stuff to the majority of humanity. It's kind of the same thing, right? Like, it's just not there. They don't have the capacity to get it or understand it. And, all those things. And for something like, the people who buy into Erika Kirk's bullshit or into Trump's bullshit or any of these things, they can't see it and they don't want to see it. And no matter what you say or what you present to them, you either see it or you don't. Like, you either see how fake she is, and those people who see it, it's horrible. It's really difficult to watch, right? Because it's just so fucking, and it's so greasy because she's using this position of being a victim consciousness person, like I said earlier. They had to get the widow. The widow is like she said, the cries of this widow will be heard around the globe. What? Because of the one little fucking weird fucking twisted gay dude took a shot, shot your husband? Like, if that's your, you're going to buy into that official story, and yet you're going to talk about evil and how this, which is it, right? Like, what is it? Like, is it, it was evil behind this, the killing of your husband? Because, he was involved in evil himself, right? He was a catalyst and a promoter and an apologist and a denier of a genocide, right? And also all these other things. And pushing a guy like Trump on the American people and young people when Trump is a piece of shit. And so, they're all lying pieces of shit. And so that's what I'm talking about. The material world can't be fixed. Moving people in the material world. But if you can help people evolve it internally, then they start getting things for themselves. Like, they have to figure things out, right? They have to stop rolling in dog shit and eating chicken shit. And then maybe, because they realize, hey, this is chicken shit, right? Like, this is dog shit. I'm rolling in horse shit, and I'm eating chicken shit. And I've been doing this my whole life. And, hopefully someday they can make just that small leap. I mean, for the majority of people who don't have the ability for abstract thought. That's why I don't make content for dumb fucks, because, dumb fucks want to roll in chicken shit, roll in horse shit and eat chicken shit. That's why I don't make content for them. Because, like, when that's the fucking baseline, when that's the baseline of what you're dealing with, then, you get it. So that's what I want to add here. All right, let's get to the comments. Okay, I had a few comments to get to. One comment was, you're fucking gross because you cuss constantly. It shows your lack of intelligence that every word out of your mouth is a cuss word. Well, it shows your lack of intelligence that you don't understand what every other means. So if I was, all right, let's put it this way. So let me read your comment. You're fucking gross because fuck, you cuss shit constantly, fuck. It shows, bitch. you're cunt, lack of, I mean, I can't even do it. And so it's, I can't, you know, like if I was, it's not every other word. All right. You Boob took down my last comment on this reminder to look into starting Buy Me a Coffee account. Funny and ironic that I last comment was attached to a super chat. I'm hoping you will still get the shekels from it, even if the comment is censored. That's weird. Grateful for the work. I think I still get the shekels. You know, thanks for the reminder, but it's gonna, I don't know. Like I've been wanting to do a new introduction video, and I haven't got around to that, so we'll see. Paul, you've changed my heart and helped me change me spiritually. This is to shekels. It's raining shekels. And so I must have made, so I know I made some comments. Someone left a link to the section where I said that I feel like the majority of my audience must be really dumb. I just have banned all those people. So it seems like I have intelligent people because that's the only people who are left, right? Or, you know, people who can leave respectful and, you know, intelligent comments. But I must have also said something about, you know, my not having an effect on people. Because there was like a bunch of comments like this. So I guess, you know, I don't remember what I said. Paul, you have changed my heart. You have helped me change me spiritually. I don't know why you can't see the positive effect you've had on people. Well, because I can't fucking see it, right? You know, that's why. Like, I have no idea. You guys can leave comments. But I'm glad that that's happened. And I believe it's possible and I believe it's happening, but I don't know. Like I can't, even if I met you, I would have to have a reference point. Like my brother was somebody easy to see because I knew my brother my whole life and I saw that he had changed positively because of Hallmark. And so if somebody just met him, they might be like, oh, this guy's fucked. But I'd be like, well, you should have seen him before, right? But I can't see it. And I'm not, I believe because it's happened for me. And I'm hoping it's happened for people doing the Gratefulness meditation. People say it's happening. I'm not saying that they're liars. I just, I don't have any reference point, right? So that's that. I've had a long way to go, but you've sparked the change. I used to follow your videos for bullshit celebrity content, your comedic twist, but now I appreciate the small nuggets of spiritualism that are each of your videos. I'm grateful for God for you. Without you, I would be a fucktard. Well, that's good. Like I'm spreading the love. And then someone wrote underneath, I have a similar experience from listening to Paul's videos. He made me see God in a different light as opposed to religious, which put me off religious, which put me off to be in my finger wagging. It's still an idiotic, mind you, but I'm still an idiot, mind you, but I consciously trying to be better. Well, I know what the effect the transmission is, and I do feel some transmission in my videos when I watch them, and other people have responded to that. But anyways, I understand that there's positive things that are happening here. It's just with all this kind of stuff, like I get my dogs. Left my dogs outside, and I forgot about them. With all this stuff, our guinea fowl have grown huge. I got to get a video of it. But we also have little bantams that are so small, like really small bantams, which are small chickens. And we have just like these 10 chickens. And there's 2 guineas and there's 2 bantams there's 4 bantams, but they're all different. And then there's a couple of these Brahma chickens that have feathers on their legs and they're gold and white. They're very distinctive. And it's just this collective mob of they're all hanging out together still, which is crazy. Now they're all full grown. And we have, the guineas are bigger than anything. They're prehistoric looking crazy guinea fowl. Kind of amazing thing. But, just to see it. Like I say, I got to get some video of it. But anyways, there's this element in the Hallmark tradition, or any tradition. Babaji, the second master, was asked, why do you want more and more people to come and join your organization? And he said, it's a tough answer. He was often asked these questions that, that are almost like traps to say something that's not spiritual, but he always delivered. in a very Yoda-like way. And he said, when you have a mind from infinity, you want all your work to be infinite. And so he was talking about how our thought force, when it says in the Bible that God made man in his image, right? It's about the soul, but also about our ability to manifest things because of our thought. This idea that the Kashob, the original thought that created the universe, is akin to our thought force, our ability to think. And so you have a mind that comes from infinity. Your mind is infinite if you reach your full potential. And so Babaji was saying, and he also, there's more to that if you take it further, that, that's why people who, want, get obsessed with money, they want all the money, right? People who want championships, Super Bowls, they want to win every year, right? They want to win infinitely. And so, people want, when they have a billion customers, they want 2 billion. It's a problem because people, when you set your mind to something, it has infinite capacity, and it's never enough, right? But in spirituality, the idea that everyone will come to it is imperative for every person who's like out there working to help people connect to God. And so it's always disappointing. I mean, dramatically so. Master Charji came to America, and he was like, this is it? Like, there's only 500 people. He was getting 10,000, 15,000 people in India. And so, he appreciated the Western people, and he liked the Western minds. He used to say, we want people with Eastern hearts and Western minds, which is kind of like the ideal situation. And yet, 500 people is nothing. In a country of 350 billion, I mean, he get 500 people in Europe. So, and that was a difficult place to go for spirituality. So, it's always like that. And, the majority of people that come through here, only a fraction of them connect with the spiritual stuff. And, that's not, like, I don't think about it that way, because if it even helps one person, it's a good thing, right? And so, there are people saying that they're being helped, and that's great, and I'm glad that that's happening. But, it'd be great if there was more. I mean, there's always going to be more, but, it's not very many. It's not very many in terms of the ratio, in terms of the overall whatever it is. Okay, so there's another comment here. Why are you talking about personality disorders? Let me see if I can make this bigger here. Who are they talking about personality disorders? As they get older, they get better. As people, which in my experience is true. My wife, as an adult, was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder. That one particularly, which explains of her actions as a teenager and a young adult. But once she found out, educated herself, she was able to grow into a positive, and today she's a different woman. Thanks, Paul, just sharing. I know, don't like long comments, but this is more to help out with the algorithm. Well, I don't know where I got that. I don't know if somebody said that, like one of my teachers in graduate school, or it was something out there. I think it's been something that's said in the psychological community, that the only thing that helps these personality disorders, narcissistic personality disorder, antisocial personality disorder, and borderline personality disorder, amongst other conditions, people often get better as they get older. And I know one factor is a reduction in hormones. Testosterone and, estrogen to a certain extent, but testosterone particularly. I don't know what it is in women, because, women are hormonal, but, after women go through menopause, they settle down, right? They're not as, their moods aren't as changeable. And when men have less testosterone, they're less aggressive. And so, and it's just that as you just get beat down as you get older, and you just become less selfish. There's a selfishness to the youth. And so I think there's a lot of factors. Those are the factors. I'm not sure where I heard that, but I think it was just something that people knew. Then someone went, you say God doesn't have a mind. Oh, this is going to be a good one. You say God doesn't have a mind. I ask you to believe that we are made in God's image. I actually just was talking about this. That is, do you believe that human soul and its mind is a reflection of the great Oversoul. I pray for love of the Father who art in heaven, and the Holy Ghost and his messenger, the transmission of burning truth and bright fire of the soul for this new hard promise to make mankind, which is the fulfillment of the law, and the law is love. The law isn't law, like this weird shit. I had to ban this person because they left a shit ton of biblical comments. Like this comment alone wouldn't have been like that. But the first thing to understand is the Bible was written for dumb fucks. You know, the stuff that's coming out of Heartfulness now is way dumber. Dodgy, this fucking criminal clown piece of shit, is way dumber than, he's just stupid. And then, it's degraded. He's still not winning people over. It's fucked. But if you want to bring more people in, you have to get more and more lowbrow and appeal to their lower nature. It's just the way it is. And I'm not talking about intellectualism or, academia or any of that shit. Nothing like that. I'm talking about just spiritual principles, because the one thing that people don't want to hear is that you have to work pretty hard to be a spiritual person. You have to, and that work is to resist your lower tendencies and do things or not do things that your ego wants to do but knows is wrong. And so once you start telling people that, they're like, fuck this. I'm not doing that, right? And so, that's the nature of this spiritual, movements, is that you have to either not tell everybody everything right away, or you have to, hook them in some way doing the spiritual practice before, and then once they become dependent on it, and then you have to introduce that they have to change more. And fuck that, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gifted in that way, but that's the reality. So the things that are in religions are for dumb fucks, right? There's always higher developed teachings that are there for people who aspire to them. They're kind of hidden and not talked about, but the majority of stuff is for dumb fucks in religions. There's lots of, 60% of the people don't have the ability for abstract thought, so they can't be spiritual. They don't have the capacity yet. They just, they have to mature into it. And so, there's been some, I don't know, consensus or some, there's in terms of the spiritual beings that are here to help humanity evolve, get people just to show up and like go to some church or some temple or synagogue or whatever it is and have the idea that there is a God and, start to work on some of the basic principles and, do a little bit of religion, just have this idea that there is a God, there's a soul. That might be all they can do for this life. We're talking about maybe 70% of the people. Just have them flirt with the idea of God, and that's about it. And so, that's not what I'm about here, and, but there's plenty of things out there for those people. But just for those of you who aspire or have the ability to go further and go, deeper, the idea that God is somehow a physical being with a divine, with a mind like a human brain is not correct. Because if you have a mind, you have to have an ego. This is one of the great teachings of Hallmark system. If God were to have an ego, then an ego separates you from, your soul is connected to everything and everybody. And so your soul is, like a Borg, like an egregore of connectivity with other souls. And you're all working together and being, together. But a mind and an ego and then the mind are your individuality and your own selfish pursuits that end up becoming selfishness, right? So God can't have either of those things because God can't separate himself from everything and everybody else. And so this idea of God sitting on a throne as a king and looking at all these pieces of shit on earth and saying, hey, you guys suck, and punishing them like in the Old Testament is blasphemy, because God can't be that. God can't separate himself from you or the devil or the demon or, a rock or whatever it might be. God has to be, God is everything, right? So God can't have an individuality. There's no individuality with God. There's no other God. There's one God. There's an all-pervading energy that creates, the loving energy that's there. So when we talk about God making people in his form, it's the basis of this original thought. Like, God doesn't have a mind to think. but there was this thought that created the universe. And that's just one thought. It's a singular, loving, the feeling behind it is love, and the idea of, let it be or something, right? The singular thought. And then we have egos and minds, and we can take that thought and create our own internal universe, and it's illusionary. It's a perversion of the divine universe, but we have the power to create something, imaginary and internal to us, right? Our own individual sovereignty. But each person on the spiritual field has to destroy their personal creation and embrace the divine creation inside of them. And people just, if they knew what that meant, they'd be like, fuck this. So, I mean, and I'm not saying like I've done it, so I understand it as a principle. And I'm pretty clear about what is my creation, what's God's creation. What thoughts are mine and what thoughts that are divine thoughts, right? What comes from a higher place and what comes from a lower place. And so that's a start. And it's, it's a lot of work. But it's just this simple. It's this simple. Human beings have these egos, and these egos like to do the wrong thing. They like to go against God's will. And, your ego is a potential demon. And you're given all these wrong choices, and you like to embrace some of these wrong choices. We all do it. We've all done it in our lives, including lying and being deceptive, being illusionary, being manipulative, being any of these number of things. And deep down, we know what God wants us to do, and we don't really want to do that, at least not all the time. And we don't want to give up that freedom to make the wrong choice, which is the bigger problem. We don't want to surrender our choices and say, God, I only want to choose what you want me to choose. I mean, very few people, how many people would do that? And so that's the problem. And until that changes, we're fucked, right? It's going to be like it is. It's just that simple. It's not political. It's not, racial. It's not demographic. It's not any of those things. It's, the inability to do make the one right choice in every situation that our soul and God are leading us to make. And when people can do that collectively, we will transform ourselves and the planet and everything else. And if it doesn't happen, we'll be destroyed because, eventually, I mean, you can't just go out just doing your own shit and just, you see what the results are in front of us. Anyways, let me wrap this one up here. Only spirituality will save this world. Its power model definitely points to the apocalypse and the ascension. Everyone have a blessed day and be grateful.